Sports cards and we live now. Jeremy Lee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, Jeremy Lee.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the May 2022 PWCC Premier Extended Bidding Auction Watch Party. It's Saturday. No, it's Thursday, May the 19th, 2022. My name is Jeremy Lee. Before we get to the show, a couple of short announcements. This Sunday on Collectible Live, my guest will be Ryan Carey of Golden Age Auctions. And moving forward, that show, Collectible Live, will be streaming on this YouTube channel, as well as the Collectible YouTube channel, Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern. I want to shout out channel sponsor Center Stage app. Download the app for quick comps, whether you are strolling through a card show, pricing your cards to go to a card show, or you're a vendor, you're an attendee, whatever it is. Really helpful app. It's continuously improving. So join me in supporting these hobbypreneurs as they endeavor to make the hobby even more fun than it already is. Also, Sport Card Expo coming up in Toronto, June 2nd to 5th. I would like to invite all viewers, listeners, and friends to the Thursday night dinner I'll be hosting at the Jack Astor's. I will be talking about that on future episodes and on my Instagram and the YouTube, the Facebook group. So be sure to tune in. But Jack Astor's at the Toronto Airport Thursday. The reservation is for 8 o'clock in my name. Come on down, hang out. It'll be a lot of fun. Shout out to the Basketball Card Fanatic magazine and our co-host tonight, Editor-in-Chief Adam Gray. He'll be coming out in just a moment. And I want to shout out the hobby's middleman service, TradeSafe, your risk-free alternative for trades and buy sells from any peer-to-peer social media platform or marketplace. We've created a service, a process, and a team that makes remote dealing much safer than ever before with our fully insured 3-hub system. Check out tradesafehub.com. I want to thank all of you podcast listeners, all the subscribers, all you viewers. If you are not yet subscribed to this channel, please take a moment and do so. With that, let's get on with the show and let's bring out my co-host, Mr. Adam Gray. How are you doing today?
You know how I'm doing it. You know it's my favorite day of the month. I'm doing great, man. How are you doing?
I'm good. You know, I said to Adam a few minutes before we went live, I go, so how are you doing, man? How are you? He's like, couldn't be better. Perfect. Doing great. Like he's the happiest guy going. It's always fun. I look forward to this too, Adam. Jesse Craig, the Director of Business Development for PWCC, will be joining us as well in about an hour and a half or so. He'll be coming on and joining us for some additional commentary on the auction and to answer some questions and just to hang out. Also want to remind everybody, PWCC just released an update to their app that allows users to bid on the weekly and the premier auctions. So pretty cool. That's something I was waiting for. They worked on that for quite some time, so be sure to check that out. Adam, do you want to talk about the closing windows and how the extended bidding is going to work, or do you think people know, or should we go over it again?
I think people probably know, but it doesn't hurt to give everybody a rundown. I think the most important thing to remind everybody is if you're going to get initial bids in, you've just got to do it before the extended bidding begins. If you get into the auction and we're talking about something that seems super interesting to you, the problem is that if you don't get your bid in the next 26 minutes, it's going to be too late. So I think that's the real most important thing. The rest of it, you'll see the clock will start at 5 minutes, and then in reality, it's going to take a couple hours to go through that. So the biggest thing is get your initial bids in now. I always feel like we should rush through and we should look at as many items beforehand as we can, but it's too many items at this point. So just trust us. Go look at those 419 items now and get your bids in.
Yeah, this is the biggest premier auction yet, although I'm a broken record. I say that every month because they've continuously grown this auction. The first one was under 50. Now we're up to 419 lots. Before we get into it, I want to send a special thank you and a shout out to my guy, Corey Fick from Show Your Slabs right there. You may notice there's a new piece of decor in the Sports Cards Live studio here. Which finger is it? This finger here, right there. You can see right there.
Huh.
Though it looks small, but that's actually nine cards in a Show Your Slabs display unit. It's the full name bar from Dale Howardchuk. He's an NHL Hall of Famer, and that's all 9 cards. I managed to track them down. It took me about 8 years to find them all, and I found the last one several months ago now. And so Corey generously created a nine spot holder for me and sent it, and I just put it up today. So thank you, Corey, from Show Your Slabs. Much appreciated, my friend. Let's say hello to a few others. We got Max Trydhall in the here. It says someone better call Jeff Bezos because this auction is going to the moon. I mean, listen, Adam, I look at this auction and you want so many of these cards, right? You want so many, but you can barely afford one of them because hey, the price is supposed to be $20,000 as a minimum. And yeah, I mean, this auction is just stacked. I know you've been looking forward to it for quite some time. And I know one of your favorite cards, Teapot calls it out right here. He says, loves the Giannis in the thumbnail because right above your head, you can't see it now, but is the Giannis Prism Gold rookie out of 10 that I knew is one of your favorites in there. We'll chat about that in a few minutes. Hello to Jake Dahl, Mike at Eastridge. What's going on? Studio Sports back in the house. Good to see you. Been a while. Will Bennett, good to see you. Rare day off tomorrow. Good to have you. Pepino in the house. Good to see you, Pepino. Jeffrey Hart. Corey says we will work on your co-host's wall next. So there you go. Yeah, those aren't cards though, Corey. Those are actual magazines hanging on his wall. Those are the print copies of Basketball Card Fanatic magazine. Scott Pope, good to see you. Adam, anything you want to jump in with?
Well, just to show your slabs, you just mentioned my wall. My wife has been bugging me forever to frame the magazines rather than to put them up just in their bags that they come in. I've never been the best about presenting things. Your room right there is just perfect. You've got your awesome stuff above the door and your stuff on the wall. Someday I'll be like you, but for right now, I basically use some tape and throw it up on the wall right before each issue starts. So I definitely need some help. Somebody's got to come through for me.
And bonus points to anybody in the chat, anyone watching who manages to spot if and when one of those magazines fall off the wall, because it happened several episodes ago and I didn't even notice it, but
it won't happen anymore. It only happened that one time. This is better tape. It doesn't happen.
Okay, you got better tape now. Good stuff. Good stuff. Adam Holgate, good to have you here as well. Fact Sakes in the house. Good to have you. So I'm going to bring up the screen. Let's take a look. Extended bidding starts in 22 minutes right now. So let's bring up the auction. Here it is. These are the first 4 cards. This is row 1. I'll go right to the top here. This is my favorite part, the ticker up top. We can see what what lots are receiving bids. And there's Jackie. Always nice to see a Jackie Robinson 48 Leaf in the auction. Here we have a dual logo man, Anthony Edwards, the Ant-Man as they call him, and Tyrese Halliburton. What do you think of this card, Adam? I mean, listen, it's a bit random. It just happens to be there. Before I turn it over to you, Raise the Roof. I got to open this up because Raise the Roof it's an insert from the 90s that you don't see very often. They're out of 100. You sent me a link a while ago, Adam, to a Shaquille O'Neal. You're like, I know you like Shaq. You should look at this card. I never snagged one. I'd love to. What do you know? What's Raise the Roof? How good is Raise the Roof? And then we'll talk about this dual logo man.
So Raise the Roof is an insert set that came out right after Jordan retired. So it's a 1999-2000 insert. It's one of those rare cards that's a refractor on both the front and the back. But even more than that, the surface of this card is just fantastic. I have to acknowledge I actually have a bid on this card. I'm considering bidding on this in this auction. It's a card that I've looked for a long time. Honestly, I'd probably rather get one in a lower grade just because I'd like to be able to pick one up a little bit cheaper. But like so many cards, it's grown a lot. And so I feel myself wishing that I'd picked one up when it was a lot less expensive. But I love collecting Kobe's from insert sets where he's the best player, the most collected player. So that, excludes the ones that have Jordan in the set. This to me is like a card I really, really want. Honestly, it's a great 90s insert. It's one of the best looking ones. It's from Mystique, and Mystique was just a beautiful, gorgeous product. So yeah, I love it. It's funny you highlighted that one first. That's one of my favorite cards in the whole auction for sure.
I'm sorry to sort of call you out perhaps and bring attention to the card that you want to bid on, but hey, that's cool. And good luck to you on buying it. It is beautiful. I like your approach there in terms of, you want to collect Kobe cards where he's the best player in the set, and Jordan is not in this set. Shaquille O'Neal is, and I guess a lot of people might argue who is the better player or the more popular, the more collected. I'm sure it's Kobe, but it is a beautiful card. I love how both front and back have that nice glossy finish to them. So let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this immaculate dual logo man, Anthony Edwards.
Jeremy,
yeah,
real quick, can you go back to it real fast and just do the 360 real fast? This is what 360 was made for.
Good point. Yeah.
Go to the back. Go to the back of the card. It's the best, man. It's just freaking awesome. I love that card.
Yeah, it is a beautiful card.
So sorry, that was one where I felt like we had to do the 360. Okay.
No, you're right. That's a good call out for sure. Let's go out of 360 to save some bandwidth. And just what I wanted to ask you about this logo, man, is these are not stitched logo men. And these are, I guess, they're screen printed or something like that. How are basketball collectors responding to these newer logo men that aren't stitched versus the ones that were stitched? Does it make a difference to the collector?
Well, I think it certainly does to some. I think, some of these new logo men have sold so incredibly well that I think it probably wouldn't be honest to say, well, they haven't done well or anything like that. But there's definitely an old school group of collectors. I probably fall into this group where I want to see the stitching. I want to see the jersey that's around it. I don't want to feel like I'm getting something that's more like a plastic little thing. But like I said, a lot of collectors still really love this. And when it comes to this card right here, you're getting two of the best guards from that draft class. And Anthony Edwards, as you know, really in the last couple months has just taken a ginormous leap. I like that Immaculate's doing some dual logo, man. I wish they would do it on more than just the rookies. But this is a rookie card, two of the hottest young guards in the league, a 1-of-1. The combination of them is not quite perfect, but the interesting thing is that both these guys have real star potential. So if you fast forward 5-10 years, and you can imagine both of these guys have been on several all-star teams, and then you start looking at it and going, hey, they were part of the same draft class, it might become a more natural combination as the years go on. I love it, but it's obviously going to sell for a lot of money.
Yeah, it's already at $21,000. Here we go. Let's go. All right. Oh, look at that. Connor McDavid still sitting right there. A BGS 10 auto 10. There's more hockey in this auction than we've ever seen. I did some stats, Adam. I'm going to bring up the stats first. Let's say hello to a few more people who have joined us in the chat. And I want to say hello to Scott Pope. What is going on? Welcome to the show. Might have said hi to you again already, but hey, we can do it again. We've got Brian Dennison in the house, Cajun Cardboard. Be sure to check out his channel. And what are these sports cards I keep hearing about? Well, he has some big cards listed and selling tonight in here. Some of the rare PSA 1086 Fleers. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on those. Brian, good to see you. Jake Dahl, I love the UD Black Jordan. We got Mac, there he is still. Tom Newman, yeah, they're out of 100. Those Raise the Roofs, they are definitely nice. Jesse Craig from PWCC jumps in, says, what is up? I'll be spotting the chat before I come on live once the kids are down a little over an hour. We'll see you then, Jesse. Take your time, no problem. Take another look. Welcome to the show. Says, love the honest gold. Too bad I have to choose between a gold card or a roof on our heads. That's what we're talking about here. Like, do I need a new car or should I buy a piece of cardboard, right? Exactly. MLW Fishing, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining. Marco, love the show. Awesome content. Thank you so much. We'll see you at the Toronto Expo. Sean Gardner, good evening. LA Schwein, what's going on? Nice looking cardboard. Happy Saturday. Yeah, it's Thursday. So PWCC did move the summer premier auctions to end on Thursdays instead of Saturdays, which is great for me and Adam because, well, I'll say great for me because now I can do regular sports cards live on Saturday and still do this on Thursday. So I'm pretty excited about it. Okay, Adam, I'm going to share the graphs that I made this time. So let's go right here. So this first graph, everybody, this shows April versus May. How many lots popular players have in this auction? April is in blue, May is in red or orange. So you can see that Michael Jordan, He leads the pack. He's got over 10% of the lots in this auction. Goes from 27 last month to 47 lots this month. Look, I don't know what that means. I don't know what this stuff really means. Does it mean that people are trying to sell Jordan, or does it mean that now is a good time to sell, or does it just mean that the auction is growing? Not sure. LeBron, 24 to 37 lots. Kobe, right around the same. Same with Brady. Giannis spiked, which it makes sense, right? It's playoffs. 7 lots last month, 21 lots this month. So the question that I would ask is, look, if you're a Giannis investor or collector, you had fewer options last month. So would the average last month be higher per card on sale price versus 21 cards now? Are there more buyers? Is there, like, it's gone up 3 times. Are there 3 times the buyers? Is there 3 times the money available? How's that? What are going to be the impacts of that? I find that interesting. Time will tell. We'll see by the end if we do any post-auction analytics. Otherwise, nothing too crazy. Luka's still pretty heavy. Curry, Mahomes has come down 14 to 10 in terms of the number of cards. I think it's because football season is just further into the rearview mirror, and that'll probably pick up again in August, September. Trout, Durant, McDavid, 4 to 6 this month. Mantle, 3 to 5. Messi holds tight at 5. Joe Burrow, 9 to 4. Very similar change to the Mahomes. Jackie Robinson, 9 last month, 2 this month. And Gretzky, I threw him in here because, he's one of my guys, 0 to 1. 1 Gretzky. So let's now take a look at the lots by category. Here you go. You got basketball here. Basketball dominates. As we know by now, basketball dominates the PWCC Premier Auction, pretty much dominates the hobby to a large degree now. It took over for baseball a couple years ago. Anyway, 169 lots last month, 226 this month. Football holds tight, 63 to 61. Baseball's climbed a bit. I mean, the season's, I guess, more underway now than it was in May. Soccer holds tight, 15 to 17. Hockey almost doubles, 7 to 13. I like to see that. TCG, the same thing, doubles 7 to 13. And golf, 4 down to 3. So listen, I enjoy looking at this stuff. I like making the graph. It's fun to flex a little Excel skill here and there. But I'll leave it to everybody to, kind of glean any information or whatever you may from this. Adam, not to put you on the spot, did anything here jump out at you?
Well, I think that the fact that we're seeing all those Giannis's is really interesting. I think I'm kind of the opinion that a lot of times people try to time things, and sometimes it can really work, and sometimes it can go the opposite direction. But sometimes it gives you good buying opportunities, and then sometimes you think it'll give you a buying opportunity, and it doesn't. So you really just never. Your point is exactly right. You'll never know until you look at it after the fact. But my guess is people got these Giannis's ready to sell because they believed, he'd be playing really well and looking to go win a championship. And then they got upset by Boston, which wasn't that shocking. Frankly, we talked about it on last month's premiere. We thought that Tatum had a good chance to go win the championship, and that still looks like it's going to be true. But if you're a Giannis buyer, I think Jeremy's right. And what he was kind of hinting at, it might be a really good time to look at some of these auctions that are ending tonight. And we'll see what happens with those.
Yeah, I mean, there may be, because there's more supply, so maybe the prices come down. However, he is deeper in the playoffs now, 2nd year in a row, where he's on his way, and that's a good thing for his stock. And so perhaps it won't have an impact at all. Jesse Craig did put a fact up here. He says, fun fact, check his IG story. And again, Jesse Craig works for PWCC. He's the Director of Business Development. He says, we have a record number of active bidders in this premiere by over 10%. So right there, 10% more registered bidders. So I don't know what that means. You'd think it just, the very simple association to make there is maybe there's 10% more money spent, or cards will sell for 10% more. I don't know if that's the case, but there's more action at least. He says chances are it'll be closer to 15% once the extended bidding starts. So that bodes well, I think, for the sellers. What do you think, Adam?
Well, I was just going to say, while you were talking, I navigated to his story real quick. And one of the things that he hinted at here, he said, we have a lot of data we will be going over in the coming weeks to let everyone know that the sky isn't falling. And, I think you've probably heard some of this too. We sometimes move as a pack in the world of cardboard. You can see people who are all excited at the same time at sometimes, and some people who all think that the sky is falling at other times. I think, the thing that I would listen to is the people who have been around for a really long time. And the people who've seen, real big waves, both negative and positive. I think what Jesse's getting at here is, just watch, sometimes if the market feels like it's down a little bit, that's the best time to be looking at it. But by no means is the sky falling. I mean, look at what some of this stuff is selling for. I think it's, it's as popular as ever. But that may not be the prevailing message that you're getting out there in social media world. And so the fact that they've added, what did he say? 15%, 10 to 15% of bidders this month. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that says a lot about their marketing, which is great to hear. And I'm with you. Like this was a very strange week for me as a collector. Monday night, there were a ton of amazing Fleer retro hockey cards at auction by PC Sports Cards, and I'm talking like Essential Credentials, Jambalayas, Precious Metal Gems, and these are all amazing cards. And I was posting to my story during the week leading up, like, I'm gonna go broke on Monday. I bought one card for $300 or $400. I was planning to spend into the 5 digits, and I couldn't because everything went for way more than I thought it was and way more than I was willing to pay. Last night, similar story for me. I had my eye on like 5 or 6 1990s Barry Sanders inserts, and I was thinking maybe I'll grab them all. Maybe I'll grab all of them. No, didn't grab a single one. All of my bids were, and I bid in with 2 seconds left. They were all, I was outsniped by a long shot. So, I mean, it depends what you're buying. It depends what you're buying, what you're collecting, what you're watching. But, I kind of wish the market would go down because I would have been able to buy all these cards I've wanted for so long. This past week, I could not buy one of them. So the cards I want, the market's up. It sure ain't down. I'll tell you that much. So anyway, I guess I don't collect everything that everybody else does. But that's my experience is the market is up on cards that I want to be buying.
Do you think it's because some of the cards that you're looking to buy are kind of rarer and harder to find, and maybe cards that people look to trade up to? And do you think maybe there's other segments that haven't fared as well?
I mean, I'm not looking to buy commodity cards. I'm not looking to buy high pop, modern rookies. I don't do that, right? I'm looking for Barry Sanders from the 90s. He's a legend. He's, Ken Griffey Jr., Shaquille O'Neal, that kind of stuff. I collect some other stuff as well, of course, but when I'm looking to spend, into the 4 digits and up on a card, it's got to be something that I believe in, and I believe in legends and icons and GOATs and Hall of Famers and that kind of thing. So, and I find them more enjoyable to collect. It's easier on the stomach, So,
yeah, I think I'm in the same boat with you. I don't feel like I'm having an easy time buying everything that I want to, and stuff still feels like it's really expensive. The sky definitely, I don't feel like it's falling, but
yeah, well,
I hear some people and I see their posts and I go, well, I guess maybe they're seeing something different, but that's not what I'm seeing.
It really depends what you're buying, what you're collecting, and it also depends when you bought what you currently own, right? If you bought it in Q1 of 2021, you're probably not in a great place with it. But if you bought it outside that window, you have a better chance of being in a better position with it. Let's go to a couple more comments here. Tom Bullard, good evening. Welcome to the show as always. Jason Mills says, happy closing night, everybody. Adam Gray is the patron saint of basketball cards, and there is no better. Very nice comment. Wise Collectibles says, maybe people are just trying to turn their GOAT cards into cash with the economy hurting as to why there's so many cards listed. Well, for every, and that could be, but you have to look at both sides. For every person trying to sell, we've got people buying. Look at these bids are coming in pretty quick. So,
and
there's buyers for every seller here, Adam.
Let me add, the thing that your graph showed really clearly is that there's a lot greater volume across a lot of players, but that's also because there's a lot larger number of lots. You mentioned at the beginning, it feels like we're broken record every month. There's just a lot more PWCC Premier Auctions. There's a reason why. It's because this is a great auction where a lot of high-end collectors come to find big stuff every month. And so you're getting larger and larger numbers. And always at the top of that, I feel like almost every month at the top of that, you've got the three big basketball guys, MJ, LeBron, and Kobe. And then you have like Mahomes and Brady. And then there's a fall off after that. Sometimes Mahomes is in there, sometimes he's not. But the fact that you're seeing more is more an indicator that more people are selling their big items with PWCC than it is an indicator that people are just unloading the goats. Because look, those guys were all at the top last month too.
Yeah. You look at the first half of this graph: Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, Tom Brady, Giannis, who slides in this month, Luka, Curry, Mahomes. You can almost draw the line right there. You might want to include Trout or take Mahomes out, but like half of the auction are these six players, these six, 7 or 8 players, right? So it's interesting. It's fun to follow this. Next month, I'll try to add June as well, and we'll have 3 months of data to look at. And hopefully you guys like this. I mean, it doesn't take me that long to do it. So if you don't, that's okay too. But just to spice things up a little bit, just trying to spice things up a little bit.
I love it, Jeremy.
I'm going to go to some comments here, Adam, while we watch what's going on in the ticker. 3 minutes, everybody, to get your bids in before extended bidding. If you are interested in an item and you do not get your bid in within the next 2 minutes and 45 seconds, you are then not able to bid on that card. But let's go to some more comments here. John Pemberton, give some love to my Kobe Legacy Collection rookie card, jersey numbered 8 of 150. Adam, keep that in mind. Let's take a look at that card. That looks like a fun one for sure. LA Schwein, let's go hockey. Jesse Craig, the sky isn't falling. Reels Faux Show, is the LeBron volume jump just the market in general? Is it because he has a lot of credibility as a player in recent years with a lot of collectors? Is it some other reason? I mean, it's a great question. I don't know the answer to it. I mean, he was knocked out of the playoffs. Maybe people are selling. But I'll tell you one thing about LeBron James. What happens in April, May, June of 2022 is not going to have an impact on the longevity, the long-term importance and value of his cards. So people if you're panic selling right now, I'm not panic selling. I've got some LeBrons in my collection. I wouldn't be selling them right now because he didn't make the playoffs this year. That's a bogus reason to sell unless you're literally a day trader. If you are, then yeah, I guess get out, put your money somewhere else and get back in with something that could go up a little bit sooner. Vintage Card Collector says, I was looking at those Barry Sanders last night as well. Didn't get one. Yeah, I went 0 for 5 last night. Luka Nation Network. Luca's bronze. Lucas Tigers bronze. Oh my. I know I'm saying it wrong. Anyway, good to see you fellas. He says it's more accurate to say the floor is falling. The sky is doing just fine. Love the show, guy. That's an interesting comment by Cage, actually. The floor is falling. The sky is doing just fine. But I think we have two different environments where you've got the commodity cards, and then you've got the truly rare cards of important iconic players. So yeah, the floor is falling on the commodity cards. I don't know that it's being impacted as far as cards like this Shaquille O'Neal Precious Metal Gems from 1998 that I would love to buy. An amazing card. I don't think the floor is falling on a card like that. I could be wrong. I don't follow every single card. Good evening, Spurs cards. Dave Bolaton, Jim Thorpe, and Joe Jackson, both in the auction. It's nice to see these absolute legends in the auction. It's not just modern cards. Not that it ever is. PWCC always has both modern and vintage, but it's nice to see. I'm with you on that, Dave. Mitchell Grotman says cards that aren't scarce are going way down because they were so overprinted. Scarce cards of great players will always go up forever. Like, that is pretty much it exactly right there. I don't think I could say it much better at all. Now, he says cards aren't scarce are going way down, and yeah, they've come way down from their peak, but keep in mind, and people might not care about this, but they're still way up compared to January 2020. So most of them anyway. We got Spinatron in the house. What is going on, Spinatron? Great to see you. We got Rich here. What's going on? Good to see you as well. All right. Oh, is that the legacy rookie that we were just asked to look at?
I believe so. Yeah.
Let's take a look at this and see if this is the, funny that I just saw it up there, but is this the numbered 8? Oh, this is 19 to 150. So
No.
this is not the card.
Jeremy, I like it when people tell us that they want us to look at individual cards in the chat. That always makes me happy. I think we're not any respecter of any of the cards per se. We're happy to look at any of them. So if anybody has anything they want to hear what we think, let's go look at them.
Well, let's do that. Let's go look for this one right now. We'll just go back to the main page here in this window, and I will do a search for, oh, thanks, Kate. I didn't even realize I hit that comment there, but thank you, Brian, for that. I'm glad you enjoyed my graphs. It was a little bit of fun for me to work on those today. Okay, let's do a quick Kobe search, and let's take a look at the 8 of 100 card that our friend John Pemberton has at auction. Where is it? No. Here, this one here?
There you go.
Yes, here it is. So I just want to take a quick look. Okay, so this is the 96 Flair Showcase Legacy row 1, and this is the row 2. So the row 1 is out of 150. The row 2 is also out of 150. Adam, I'll let you explain that if you want. I think it's interesting. And I was under the impression that row 0s, row 1s, row 2s were all had different print runs. Yeah. But it seems to not be the case. Back here in 96, they had the same print run.
So yeah, let me talk about it. I remember opening these packs like they were yesterday. In 1996, the Flair Showcase came out with one of the most unique sets really ever, where they had a base set that was printed in three different rows: row 0, row 1, and row 2. And row 0 was the rarest, but within each row there was different segments. Like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant were in the rarest sort of row 0 segment. So it was super confusing. A lot of the stuff that Flair did back then was kind of confusing. And this set was, not any different. So it was way easier to get a row 1 Kobe or a row 2 Kobe than it was a row 0. However, when you move to the parallel of all three of those, which is the legacy parallel, which is, which you can see because it's numbered on the back, and you can see on the front it has that blue foil. It's really a pretty foil. They're all numbered to 150. So you're right, Jeremy, that they were different rarity in the base set, but in the parallel legacy, which is the most desirable from 1996, that didn't have one of ones. Our friend Spino will tell us that too. There were no one of ones in 96. They're all the same. They're all out of 150. And actually, here's the really funny thing about this. There were actually cards printed 000 out of 150, meaning there were actually 151 copies of each of these three cards.
That is a nice little piece of trivia right there. They are nice. And last night on those Barry Sanders cards, there were two Barry Sanders they looked the same, but one had blue foil. That would have been, I believe, the legacy variant or parallel, and that card sold for, I think, like $4,800 last night, and I tried to snipe it at the last second, and I was outsniped. My bid didn't even register. I was outsniped before mine got through. So they are beautiful cards, no doubt about it. And we saw a Jordan go by at one point up there as well. It's good timing that this Tom Brady shows up, because this is one of the top cards in the auction. It's a rookie card. It's a Tom Brady rookie card. It's a 1 of 1. It pictures him in the full Patriots uniform, which you don't see very often in his rookie cards. I know you're not a basketball guy, but Flair Showcase, masterpieces. Like, how impressed are you with this card, Adam?
So Jeremy, you're right. I'm not a football guy. This is my favorite card in the auction, though. I think this is the biggest card in the auction, personally. I think Jesse probably has some things that he wants to say about this card later, but I want to applaud PWCC for the content they put out around this card. This is a 1 of 1, but it's actually, they've been calling it a 2 of 1 because there is another copy that's graded by PSA. But the thing that I keep saying, and I'm not sure I'm saying it loudly enough, I'm not sure people are understanding, this card right here is graded by Beckett in 2004. The other copy, and I'm sure it's a great copy, but and again, it's numbered 1 out of 1. But the other copy was not graded in 2004. It was graded much later than that. And so, what you think about when you see that there's multiple 1 of 1s out of a Flair product you should immediately think about the bankruptcy that took place in 2006. The fact that this card, this is the key point, okay? Listen to this. The fact that this card was graded in 2004, hasn't been touched by human hands since 2004, lets you know that this one came out prior to the bankruptcy. So I'm not saying anything negative about the other person's card. There is a chance, there's definitely a chance that Fleer could have actually released both via the packs, back in 2000. But what I'll tell you for sure is I'd much rather have the one that was graded in 2004, because to me, that sounds like a card that was far more likely to come out of the packs, be the real original that maybe some kid got out of a pack back then. And I think, you point to the fact that it's a full body shot, full Patriots jersey, non-practice jersey. It's a 1-of-1. Jesse's referred to it as the Tom Brady rookie superfractor. I think it's one of the coolest cards. I'm not a football guy. I'm not just blowing smoke here. I think it's one of the coolest cards I've seen out of football. And I will be pretty surprised if it's not the biggest card out of tonight's auction. And I don't mean to do any disservice to the other cards, but this is a huge card.
It's a special card. It's already at $280,000. I've never seen one of these in person. This seems to be some sort of like cloud effect here in the aesthetics. I like the shadow. I like the shadow of the detail there.
It's his cool eyes, Jeremy.
What's
up
that?
At the top, it's not a cloud. It's actually his eyes.
That's his mouth and that's his nose, isn't it?
No, it's actually, so do the 3D. This will help you. The 3D will help you on this one, I think. Oh, maybe it doesn't. I'm wrong. But you can see it. Maybe you can even see it better on a regular version.
It is his eyes. There you go. There's his eye right there's the eyebrow. There's his eye over there. Okay, look at that. Yeah, it's funny. It looked differently. It looked different in the other image. Very cool. I'm impressed you knew that, actually, Adam. Taking a good look at this.
I probably spent an hour talking about this particular card with different people over the course of the last couple of weeks, because people wanted to know, why are there two copies? And it's funny because today people don't know about the bankruptcy. They don't know about why there might be two copies. And I think, again, this is why I think you don't break cards out of slabs unless you're really sure you need to, because the fact that it's in that slab from 04 is it's absolutely crucial to its provenance. And I just don't think you can overstate that.
All right, let's go to some comments here. Spinatron says, I was there chasing it when it was sold last time. That would be, I think, your 04 date, or I guess that's when it was graded, but last time it was sold. Goes on to say 99 2000 Flair Masterpiece is the first year when there is no rows. It's a true 1-of-1, so no parallels. That's pretty cool. Vintage Card Collector wants to know which Barry Sanders was last night was your favorite card. For him, was the Essential Credentials. It was all fun. For me, it was the Row Zero Legacy. I'm looking at my ended listings. It was the Precious Metal Gems out of 50. I'm a big fan of the Playmakers Theaters. That might have been my favorite. The 1998 Skybox Premium Rubies. Loved that card. It was a 7.5. It had a weird line through it, so I wasn't going really hard after that one. And then the Essential Credentials out of 100. I do love that card. I have an Emmett Smith of that card, so I'm familiar with it, and it would have been nice to pair the Barry Sanders with it, but no go for me on that. Keep on going here. Spinatron says 9900 Flair Showcase is the first year there were no multiple rows. Okay, so we're getting a bit of a lesson here. That's the upside of BGS grading. One can see the date and the provenance. Yeah, that's a huge thing to be able to know when the card was dated. Huge. And that's something that PSA just doesn't do. And I think they're missing the boat on that. I think it's an amazing feature as well. Definitely. Spinatron let us know that Jason Tatum, 20 points at the half. What is the score in that game? I'm going to go take a quick look right now. 80-53 for the Celtics. 7.5 minutes left in the third. I'm sorry if I just spoiled that for anybody. I just realized some people might be recording the game. I'm sure you're not watching this and recording the game, so I hopefully didn't ruin that for anybody. John Pemberton says, first year they did serial numbered cards, and Kobe only has 2 serial numbered rookie cards in existence. So that's huge. That's a big deal for sure. And Vintage Card Collector would love to hear your thoughts on the 86 Kareem Abdul-Jabbar sticker. I get it's a Pop 14, but dang, last one I could find sold February 2020 for just under $20,000. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. That's Cajun Cardboard's card actually that he has in the auction this week. He's got a bunch of PSA 1086 Fleers. So, yeah, what is that card at right now? I don't know, but let's take a look. I'm going to just close some of these windows and let's take a look at these 86 Fleer cards that are the Cajun Cardboard has going on.
There it is.
Let's do this. 1986
It's just
Fleer.
below where you are. Yep.
Oh, okay. Too late.
Okay.
But here we go. There it is. $160,000 for this card at the moment. So you want to hear our thoughts? Listen, Adam is the man to speak to these, but I'm going to just let y'all know one thing. I do have a copy of this card. It's not graded. It's way off center. Would probably get a PSA 3 because of the centering, but I'm just glad to have a copy of it. I think it's a cool, and Winning Time has been extremely entertaining. I have loved that it's not a documentary really because it's all actors, but I have loved that series. And me and my wife watch it. She loves it too. How much, right? It's so good. Hey, Adam, like just a great series. In any event, it really, listen, The Last Dance didn't cause me to spend any more money on cards. I bought all my Jordans before then. But Winning Time could cause me to buy a couple extra Kareems, a couple extra Magic Johnsons. So, Adam, I'm going to turn it over to you. Why, let's talk about the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar sticker. And, is it the most important card or sticker in the whole 86 Fleer set, maybe besides the Michael Jordan? So
this is really interesting. And I don't know that a lot of people knew this maybe before this card came to auction. I can tell you I'm a basketball card just a fanatic, and I didn't maybe know how rare the sticker was in comparison to the other PSA 10s. But sometimes you'll have people say, and I've said this many times, buy the card, not the grade. But the reality is that when you're talking about iconic and important sets from eras that people really care about, the thing that differentiates cards is their condition, and their condition is signified by that numeric grade on the card. And so there are a lot of people who put together 1986 Fleer sets, literally thousands of people. And there's a few really crazy people who have put them together graded, and a very few number of people who've put together the set graded all in PSA 10. But the really totally, completely nutty, incredibly insane people have actually done the sticker set as well. This Jabbar, as a Pop 14, is about 3 times or 1/3 the population as the next rarest card. It's easily the rarest card in a PSA 10 in the set. And, when you think about that, and you think about tell me a set from the 1980s, tell me what's the most iconic set ever. I'm going to tell you, I think the most iconic set ever is the 86 Fleer set. I don't think it's close. I don't think it's, people say 03 Exquisite or 96 Chrome or, Metal Universe. I don't think those are close. Like the 86 Fleer set to me is the most important and the most iconic. And depending on how well this Kareem does today, there's actually a chance. Think about this, Jeremy. There's a chance this is the most expensive card in the set.
Yeah. Well,
kind of shocking, right?
Interesting. It'll be interesting to look at. I mean, it's at 160 right now, and that doesn't include the 20. It's really at 192 right now, I believe. So once all is said and done, and there's still lots of time in the auction, if this thing sells for upwards of 260, 270, 280, that's where some Jordan PSA 10s have sold for. That could make this the #1 card in the whole set today. I mean, I'm for now, right? For now. But then you never know. The next one that comes could go for more, could go for double. You just don't know, right? I mean, it really depends. So to our friend Brian, Cajun Cardboard, who owns this card that he is selling it, good luck. Hope you make bank on this. You've already made bank on it, actually. So at 160 plus a portion of the buyer's premium, PWCC shares that buyer's premium with the consigner based on price point. So he's already made more than 160 on this card, and we'll see where it ends up. But and the funny thing about it is it's not the prettiest card. Like, at least the base cards in 86 Fleer are, I think they're beautiful. You've got the red, blue, and white. They've got that unique, that iconic design. This is a bit more plain. The back's pretty much very similar to the base cards, but anyway, those are our thoughts to a vintage card collector who wanted us to talk about this particular card. I'm going to go back here. Let's see what's going on. We are 15 minutes away from, actually, no, sorry. We're 45 minutes away from the end of the 5-minute bidding windows. And I'm going to leave it here at the top so everyone can kind of watch what cards are receiving bids here in real time. And we'll go to some more comments in the chat. I want to see, where did we leave off here, you guys? Where did we leave off? August Mendez, welcome to the show. It says Michael Jordan, the limited logo, just coming off the board here, way over here. So underrated. I can see it only going up. It's an amazing card. I mean, exquisite limited logos are that's the cat's meow. Skeppy says that was my essential. That was your Barry Sanders last night. You created it, got the 9, sold it through PWCC last year, and now it resold. Now it resold again, I guess. Very, very interesting. Spinatron says essential credentials has some love showing in the comments. Love it, Tracy. One is in the auction.
Yeah. Tracy McGrady is what he's talking about.
McGrady, got it. Jason Mills says the real winning time is about Reggie Miller and will not be topped. JG, how are all of Cajun Cardboard's 86 PSA 10s doing? Good question. I am not, where do we put those? Here they are. So let's have a quick look. I don't know if this is, I don't think he's selling this one, the Jordan. The Jordan sticker might be his. It's at $60,000. We can, I know this is his, he's got the Johnny Moore for sure here, the most expensive common card in the hobby at $27,000. And a couple more Jordan. There's a PSA 9 sitting at $15,000. That should, you got to think that's going to go up to about 20 before the night is over. An autographed MJ sticker, that's pretty cool compared to a BGS 9.5 at $14,000 at the moment. And I think, is the Jeff Malone, is that Cajun's card as well?
I'm sure it is. That is, I think that's the rarest card in the set other than the Jabbar. And I think, if I remember right, it's like a pop 43.
I thought Johnny Moore was.
They're right next to each other. One's a pop 42 and the other's pop 43. For some reason, we all think of Johnny Moore, but Jeff Malone's just as rare.
Got it. Okay. Let's go back to the top here. There's Kobe getting some bids. Giannis Gold Kaboom getting a bid. Ja Morant Logo Man getting some bids. There's a Tatum right over there. John Pemberton says the stickers were almost always cut short for Kareem or diamond cut. Yeah, mine is like there's barely any border at the top and thick border at the bottom. Brian says not doing good on his cards. There's still time, Brian. We're rooting for you. Yeah, JG, we're rooting for you as well. We got baseball card curmudgeon in the house. Welcome. What is going on? All right. Oh, and look at that. Jim Thorpe. We talked about that a little bit earlier. There's the Jim Thorpe, the Baltimore News, I think, or the S Sporting News. That's a pretty. Let's give some vintage some love for a second here, Adam. The auction tends to be modern heavy, so this is like, look, 1916, 5 Sport News, blank back, Jim Thorpe, like an absolute athletic legend. That's a cool card. What's it sitting at? $40,000, 8.5 for a card from 1916. Crazy stuff.
Hey, Jared. There we go.
So I'll talk about this because I own this card. So this isn't mine.
Hey, don't say I. You got to say we each.
We both have a copy of this card, the MJ Jambalaya, the 97. This is a BGS 9.5. It's got 9.5 edges, centering, corners are a 10, surface is a 9. So it's got that, like, it's not a true gem because you don't have 9.5 on surface, but it still has, if you add up 9.5 times 4, it still scores a 38 out of 40, which is pretty cool. My copy, Adam, is a true gem plus, 3 9.5s and a 10. I'm very proud of it.
You always point that out to me because mine's not a true gem plus. But listen, this is the nicest version of this card that we've seen at the Premier Auction, I think, yet. Because we had the other one that was a 9.5. It's a great card, but the color was a little bit different. We talked about it. It's still a beautiful card, wonderful card. But this copy right here, I've been really excited about because we kind of always wondered, you and I have even talked about it a couple of times, what are our cards worth? And yours, I agree, yours is probably just a little bit better than this one. This is basically the same thing as mine, same subgrades. And so I'm very excited to see how it does, and to see it hit 100 grand is definitely a good moment for me.
Yeah, it's very, I like to see it too, because last we saw it was 50. So it's doubled.
Was it a 9? Was it a PSA 9 that was 50?
Is there 2 of these in the auction?
Oh, the last we saw this one. No, you're right.
Tonight.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. Okay. Yes, you're right about that.
The last time I saw this go by on the ticker up top,
Yeah.
it was at 50,000. It was 40 when we started the show, went to 50. Now it jumped very quickly to 100. That's 120,000 out the door. Card Ladder, I believe, has this card valued at about 110, 111. So it's already at 120 here tonight with time left. So we'll see where this thing ends up. But still my favorite card. I think it's like my favorite card of the 90s. It's one of my favorite cards overall. I just love how it's like he's jumping off the card. I don't
think we talked about it, but just to highlight it real quick, we did that last issue or a couple issues ago in BCF. We like pulled 40 of the biggest, basketball card collectors out there, people who a lot of people have heard of and well-known guys. We asked them to rank their top 9, most iconic basketball cards. And the thing that was clear, if you compared this list to the one that we did a year and a half ago, was that the 90s really has taken on more of an iconic, like people think of it more of an iconic way. The Jambalaya didn't really get any votes the first time, but this time the Jambalaya actually made the list. It ended up, I can't remember where it ended up, like 15 or 16 or something like that. What is that? Is that coming across again? What's going on there?
It seems like is something wrong there, or it shows up as 70 on the ticker, 100 here. So I don't know. I can't explain that. I don't know why it's showing 70 there, but 100 when you go into it. I actually think, Adam, I think 70 is probably the right bid. It just seems more reasonable to me that would go from 40 to 50 to 70 versus right up to 100. But
we did go away for a while, though. I wonder. I don't know. It might be 100 or it might be. We've also seen times, Jeremy, where people have both put in max bids back to back, and it hasn't just gone up one at a time. It's really just gone for it. So
you're right. There's 80. You're right. It's catching up. It's catching up. So we'll see 90 and then we'll see 100. I think it is at 100.
But what I was gonna say about it is, everybody thinks about like these specific cards as being iconic. The 48 Bowman Mikan, the 69 Alcindor, the 61 Wilt, the 86 Jordan. The way that like the kids who are collecting now are viewing it, a lot of them don't look back to the 60s and the 70s and the 50s. A lot of them see us collecting and they say, us older guys to them, and they go, wow, the 90s Jordans, that's the real iconic stuff. And so, that right there, excluding parallels from the base set, I think that's the most iconic of all the Jordan inserts right there. And I don't know if it's close. Actually, the second closest might also be in this auction, and that's the Scoring Kings. There's a PSA 10 Scoring Kings in this auction as well.
So people I find often confused. I'm not saying you're doing this, but people often confuse 2 words, iconic and important. Yeah. You can be an important card, but not be iconic. It's tough to be iconic and not be important. I looked it up. I looked up, what does iconic mean? And because there was a conversation in a Facebook group on hockey about what's the most iconic hockey card? Is it the Gordie Howe 51 Parkhurst or the 79 Wayne Gretzky rookie? To me, it's easily the Gretzky rookie. Not to say that the Gordie Howe isn't important, but iconic means something that represents other things. It represents the hobby. Just like you were saying earlier, the 86 Fleer, the most iconic set in the hobby, no doubt about it. Like you're right about that. 100% correct. It's more iconic than 96 Chrome. It's more iconic than 03 Exquisite because more people know about it. It represents the basketball card hobby to many people. Just like this 52 Topps Mickey Mantle is the most iconic baseball card, up there with Honus Wagner. Because even if you don't collect cards, you know about that Honus Wagner card. It may be more iconic. There's a book written about it. I don't know how many books have been written about the 52 Topps Mickey Mantle. Maybe a couple have. If not, there will be some. But in any event, I'll leave us with that. iconic and important are two different things, and you can be important but not be as iconic. You can be very important but still not be iconic because you're important within the niche, within people who know what is important. So anyway, when you say that the 97 Jambalaya is probably the most iconic card in the basketball, like in the inserts world, along with the
Scoring Kings.
Scoring Kings. Listen, the Scoring Kings, I know that all my Jordan buddies love that card.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that card at all. It means nothing to me. I have zero interest in acquiring one, and I collect some Jordan cards. But the thing is that it's iconic still because basketball collectors know about it. So it's iconic to the basketball collectors, but it's not iconic. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm not sure. So,
well, for what it's worth, the great thing about the vote, having all those 40 people come together and sort of put their own votes in, is then the whole of the group gets to determine it. And those are the only two Jordan inserts. I'm not talking about parallels. I'm talking straight inserts. Those are the only two that made the list. And so I thought it was cool that you had a high-end Jordan and one that's not as high-end. Although, once you get one in a PSA 10 of the Scoring Kings, it's definitely on anybody's, high-end list. Did you see that note from Jesse in the comments?
I see this. Is it this one here?
Yeah, I think this makes sense. There's just a lot of bids right now. And so what happens on this ticker is sometimes it takes a sec to get caught up because they don't want to give each card only 1 second. They want to give it sort of to 3 beats, and then it moves on to the next one. The problem is that they're getting so many bids right now that MJ that's at $100,000, it was just taking a second to get caught up.
So so I said earlier, we're seeing these bids in real time, but there's a queue of bids and they're going to make their way through the ticker. I'm glad that we're actually able to touch on that right now. I'm going to open up this card here because we had a question about it. So we'll get to that in a few minutes. Thanks, Jesse, for pointing that out. And here we go. Nahuggin says, what do you guys think about the Jordan 97 game jersey? Does it seem too good to be true with the partial logo man? So where'd that go? That's this one right here with the partial logo. I mean, listen, back then, here's the thing about mem cards from the 90s. The card companies at that point in time they didn't realize just how important different parts of the jersey were. They had the thing cut up and put into cards. So does it seem too good to be true? I mean, listen, the cynic in people will say yes. I believe because now I don't know for sure one way or the other, but in my, the way I look at it is it's plausible that it's not too good to believe. It's now all that said, it's an amazing piece. I mean, if that is a key part of the jersey, only 2 of the cards can have a piece like it. I don't know the print run on this card, but if it's, if there's 100 or more of these, 2 of them are special and the rest are probably just all white jerseys. So 44,000 for this non-autographed card seems, I mean, I know what this card is, Adam, you know better than I do, but doesn't seem like an outrageous price on this card at this point in time.
It doesn't. The other thing I'd point out here is, PWCC has done a pretty good job on some of these more questionable things of including a note. Now, I hope I'm not getting ahead of myself, but maybe Jeremy, scroll down just a sec and see if there's anything that says here that is worth.
It says confirmed to be the earliest known use of the easily recognized NBA logo man patch on a game jersey production. Slab by Beckett has been confirmed authentic by Upper Deck. This patch has been confirmed authentic by Upper Deck.
That's as good as it. I mean, I don't know that there's another backstory on this. Somebody else might know more, but if there's, that's very deliberate language there. It sounds like somebody had a letter from Upper Deck or PWCC reached out to Upper Deck or something like that. But the other thing that I point out is clearly Upper Deck had to do something with the jerseys, right? Yeah. They had to do something with every piece of that jersey. And so it kind of stands to reason that the logo man made it somewhere onto some card. Now, the guy in me who now knows about all the patch switching and the bad stuff that's gone on kind of wishes that Upper Deck would have been smart enough to say, we're going to make a 101 of this. We're going to have it signed. We're going to make it number 1 of 23 or something like that on the autographs. You wish that they would have done that, but hey, they didn't.
The hobby has evolved into into that, and we had to take the path to get to where we are today. So I don't fault them for it. It took time to get there, and at least the hobby has got there. Okay, let's go back to but just to finish off, I love the card. Like, this is a very important card. It's not iconic at all, in my opinion. There's no, well, it's iconic to the hardcore Jordan collectors, but it's not an iconic card outside of, you know, 90s basketball collecting, Michael Jordan collecting. It's but it's extremely important because it's the first jersey card, and it's got this piece of logo man on it. So it's very cool. I'm going to go back to the main page. We're going to sit over here and we're going to go through some comments. Jesse Craig speaks about the Thorpe. He loves the Thorpe. Yes. And as we're talking about it, a bid comes through. That seems to happen more often than not, Adam.
That's an old bid though, Jarrett. You might want to refresh the page. We're pretty far behind at this point.
Might want to refresh. That might be the record number of bids though, right? That might just be the record. I'll do it here. Let me unshare. We'll do a quick refresh, and I'm going to go through some more comments.
Sorry.
Mitchell Grotman says it's not too good to be true. It was a premium card that predated Logo Man cards. Yeah, see, predated Logo Man cards being the key. They didn't think of doing that back then. That was an evolution. Huggins says, still kicking myself on that jambalaya sale. I'm guessing that you're Huggins. That you're the guy I bought it from. Thank you. Thank you for the sale. You had two, I believe, anyway, didn't you? And you had your eye on something else with that money that I sent you. So I hope you're doing okay with that. And but I'm grateful. I am grateful for the card. I love it, and it's not going anywhere. Cardboard Casino says one of the jambalayas was deemed trimmed, altered by PSA, but then twice graded by BGS. Several stories like that in the hobby. I'm not surprised. Jesse Craig, there are record number of bids. We saw that. Thank you so much. Huggins says, can't believe the 93 finest refractor Griffey isn't getting any love. I am too. That's a card that I was looking at actually. Not in this auction, but I've looked at that card to acquire. It's a great card. Kirill Kim, the Ronaldo Flawless Patch Auto is game used on-card auto from his record-breaking goal season, and it's Pop 1, BGS 95. Looks like it's still at the moment, with the last sale being BGS 8 at 28.8K on Golden Auctions. I'm gonna pull up that Ronaldo right now, and I'll bring it onto the screen once I get it up. John Pemberton says, "Wow, I've never watched this auction live. I love the scrolling bids at the top. Amazing feature." Yeah, it really is. And the Jim Thorpe, just to Jesse's comment, has been getting bids. There it is, up to $80,000 right now. And let's go look for the Ronaldo that John Pemberton just called out.
I actually wanted to look at that jaw that was just going past too. So we've got a bunch of cards to look at.
So this is the flawless he's talking about. Yeah, this is a very, like, on-card autos in soccer just seem to be few and far between. Listen, I'm not exposed to a ton of them. I don't search out soccer cards, but when I see them, they're often sticker autos. This is very nice card, nice patch, full body shot, great card. I can't speak to the price, but $23,000 now versus 28.8 for BGS 8 that sold earlier. We'll see where this one ends. Keep in mind, though, that this card is actually at 27.6 right now with the buyer's premium. So it's just a hair behind the card that sold, the BGS 8 that sold on Golden in recent times. I'll go back to the top now, Adam. Cage says that Cage is important. Andrew Goldberg is iconic. Yeah. Actually, Cage, listen, if you're still watching, you might be more iconic than Andrew Goldberg, because maybe not. Maybe you guys are tied in iconicism, but you're just louder and more boisterous. So you're more, when you walk into a room, I think you draw more people in. Goldberg's a little bit calmer. He's a little bit, he keeps his stuff tight. You're a little, you're all out there. So I don't know. I'm gonna turn this around on you, Cage. I think you're more iconic and Goldberg's more important. JG says Johnny Moore, nice price jump. Just took a jump to 40K. Good to see for our friend Brian Dennison, who is also known as Cajun Card Collector. Card Shop Dad in the house says, isn't that 97 game jersey a patch swap? No, Upper Deck has confirmed it not to be. Spinatron says, we know the man behind the handle is Andrew. There you go, Spinatron. Very, very likely. Tyler says, I would think if someone was going to fake it, they would have just used the whole logo, man. Or not. Depends on how slick they want to be. Dave Bolaton says, Jabbar sticker for 160K. A fool and his money, plus it looks like it's an old PSA cert. The old PSA cert thing doesn't bother me so much. And listen, it's a pop 14, and to some people, 160K doesn't mean that much. So I don't want to call anybody a fool who's bidding on it. I think everything's relative, and you know, some collectors put their money where their mouth is. So I'm cool with it. JG says Vlad Jr. is up to 160K. Mr. Huggins, thank you again. Mike from Eastridge, question for Adam. Was 2002 Topps Jersey Edition the first Logo Man patches?
Wow, it might be. 2002 also had SP Game used. Had Logo Mans, and those were autographed too. That was the year that you had the 3 Kobe's and the three Jordans. And there might have been something else too, but that's 02. If Spino's still here, I'd be interested to know if he knows. I can't think of anything from 01. I don't think.
He'll know. Spinatron will know, and he'll let us know, I'm sure. He's typing right now, I'm sure. So
I don't think so, though. That's a good question.
Well, good question, Mike. We'll see if we can find up an answer. I'm glad to hear that, Huggins. Very glad to hear that. Nice looking cardboard says, love conversations between passionate, educated collectors where it's okay to say you don't like a certain card, i.e. Scoring Kings, and not be criticized or chastised. More of this always. The only thing, though, nice looking cardboard, is somebody watching is probably chastising me now, but that's okay. Hey, we all like what we like, right? We all like what we like. Kirill Kim says, thanks for shining some light on that Ronaldo for the soccer collector. Hey, you are welcome, Kirill Kim. Glad to have you on the show. Jacob S., I love the 2014 gold prism look. Yeah, I mean, gold prisms pretty much every year look pretty good. I like the earlier years. I love the 2012s. To me, they're the nicest with that beautiful, like, symmetrical frame around the play, around the image. Then they kind of get asymmetric after a while, and I like those less, but I love the 12s, the 13s as well. What's up, Joe Perot from Santa Cruz, my guy? Love you guys. Got to go bid. Be back in a bit. Hey, good stuff, Cage. We'll see you soon. Card Vibe agrees. Cage is more of a character and more iconic. So there you go. Thank you, Card Vibe. Rare Card Chaser says there are several super rare LeBron Ultimate and exquisite PSA 10s in this auction. Good time to buy if you have the cash. Yeah, and what I'm hearing is that LeBron's index is down a little bit, which makes sense because we're such a what have you done for me lately hobby. So I'm not surprised. I agree with Rare Card Chaser. Good time to buy if you have the cash. Now, listen, that might prove to be wrong. It might prove to be wrong. But if you believe in the hobby like I do, you might think it's a good time, as myself and Rare Card Chaser do. Do you want to comment, Adam, on anything?
Well, no, I wanted to look at the Jaw Logo Man that's gone by a couple of times. It stood out to me. I wanted to get your take on a couple of things, but that's it right now.
Okay, so let's see if that comes by again. I'm gonna close some of these windows here. We'll close the Jambalaya. We'll close the game jersey. What's this window here? That was the Ronaldo search. Here we've got the.
Oh, it's just at the top right now, Jeremy.
What's that?
It was at the top of that last screen, but I think it's gone now.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Here's a hockey card. My guy Alexander Ovechkin. This is the Cup RPA. This would be pretty much the equivalent of a LeBron James exquisite RPA, because this is the first year that Upper Deck did the Cup hockey with these amazing RPAs, and the Alex Ovechkin being, up there with Sidney Crosby as, the most important players of our generation. And I've owned 4 or 5 copies of this card over the years. Adam, I own 0 of them now. I sold them all many years ago. I had 5 Crosby RPAs at one time. And I own 0 of those now as well. So to those of us who are like, to Huggins and everyone else who sold cards a little bit too early, we've all been there for sure.
Are you tempted by this one at all?
I mean, listen, of course I am. First of all, I like that it's a PSA 6. You're going to get a beautiful card for less money.
Yep.
Like, a 6 is a great grade for this card. Who cares that it's a 6? Look at that thing. It's stunning. It's just a beautiful piece. So, but no, I mean, listen, it's out of my budget. I'm not buying cards for 20K these days. So and up. So no, I'm not tempted. But no, I am tempted. I am tempted, but I'm not going to buy it. We'll close out the Thorpe at 90K right now. There's the Jambalaya again at 100. The Jabbar sticker. I think that wasn't that at 160 last we saw.
Yep.
There it is, up to 170. Some more money for our friend Cajun Cardboard. Gonna close out this guy, and that's the Jordan. Okay, so we're back to the main page here. Scroll. There's your jaw. Let me open this up for you, Adam, and let's talk about this card right here, the Ja Morant. This is the Blockchain National Treasures Logo Man 1 of 1, BGS 8.5. Look, I don't know what the blockchain card is all about. I don't want to spend a lot of time learning about it, but if you can give us a really quick, like 5 seconds on what that means, and then talk about the card, Adam.
You know what? I don't know it super well either. Spino would be the guy to talk about it, but what I would say is this is what I know, right? It's a physical card. When you hear things like NFT and blockchain and stuff, you start wondering, what's physical, what's not. This is a real card where you've got a Ja Morant worn jersey logo man that's autographed. And here's the other thing, Jeremy. It's from 2019. It's from his rookie year. I looked at the card for a bit. I don't think it has the rookie shield anywhere on it, but I'm kind of I don't really care as much about whether it has a shield or not. I care what year it is. And where Ja stuff has been absolutely fire. I mean, just his NTRPA out of 99 is, like 6 figures, crazy money. As a collector of somebody of stuff that's unique, and you can look at it and you can say what it is. This is a Logo Man auto from Ja Morant's rookie year that's currently sitting at 55 grand, which is obviously a ton of money. Would I rather have this or something that's better known but not as unique? I like this, man. I think it's really cool. So to somebody out there who wants a Ja Morant rookie Logo Man auto and doesn't want to pay $1 million or more for it, it kind of feels like a good option.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 1 of 1. It's an on-card auto. You've got the Logo Man. What I don't love about this card from an aesthetic perspective is this part right here. You've got this, like, you've almost got a line, a barrier here, like a border. It's invisible, but it's sort of there. You can kind of see where the picture cuts off. And then you've got all this, just listen, I like a card that has a lot of white in the background, but I want the adornments to be balanced throughout the card. Yeah. And it's almost like they forgot to put something here. I know he didn't take up enough room with the auto maybe, or whatever it is, but National Treasures to me it's at the peak of the mountain, but to my taste, it's not the nicest brand that Panini puts out. I prefer Immaculate and Flawless as far as aesthetics go and design goes. All that said, important card, important player, getting more and more important all the time right now. And it's not, listen, it could be a little bit nicer to me.
Yeah.
But I'm not calling this thing ugly. I definitely am not calling it ugly.
That's well said, Jeremy. I think you could make the case if they just would have had his legs come down a little bit further and had it sort of slowly fade out, that might be a little bit nicer. But in the way that I look at it is, if it was flawless, even if it did have his legs cut off, what would the card cost? And it would cost, seriously, like 20x what it's at right now, 25, 30. It would be huge money. I mean, this is huge money, but we're talking about $1 million plus, I think. I mean, I don't think I'm wrong here. I think one of the big 3 Logo Man autos of Ja right now is probably over $1 million, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Like, as a replacement for that, same year, same autograph, same type of Logo Man, not a bad way to go.
Yeah. Kellen wants to know, how can you tell if items have ended? Well, no items will end until we get out of the first until we get to 8 o'clock, right? Is that how it works, Adam? Where once there are no bids.
Yeah. So Kellen, what you want to watch that little clock there in the upper right that says time remaining. Every time there's a bid, that clock is resetting. And the real honest truth here, Kellen, this isn't going to end for a while. All the items that are up right now, they're all going to be available till the very end. And then we're going to say, oh, it's getting to the end. It's getting to the end. And it's going to hit 0. And everything at the exact same time is going to end. So we're not close to that right now, man. We probably still have, what do you think, Jeremy? A couple hours at least?
Oh, we're a couple hours away from this thing ending most likely. But yeah, I get confused between this and the weekly. And the weekly items end on their own and other ones continue. In the Premier, everything ends at the same time once there has not been a bid for a 1 minute period after 9:30 Pacific, I believe. I'll just put the banner back up here. And so this says that from 8 to 8:30 goes to, okay, right. So after 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, you go to a 1 minute window, 1 minute extension, meaning anytime any item in this auction gets a single bid after 8:30, the whole auction extends for a minute. Another bid happens, the whole auction extends. So this could go into the morning, but we've done this now 10 times and it always ends in a reasonable amount of time. However, with 419 lots, it might take a little bit longer tonight than it did in the past.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to try and run through a whole bunch of comments. We're going to go sit at the top so we can see what bids are coming. I do love this Brooks Robinson, by the way. 57 tops, a beautiful set for you vintage baseball collectors. Spinatron wanted us to repeat the question, which was, when did the first Logo Man came out in basketball? Was it 2002? Top something or other that Mike from Eastridge. Here was the question. Was 2002 Topps Jersey Edition the first Logo Man patches, Spinatron? That was the question. Fact Sake says, what's your favorite late 90s Gretzky insert? Lethal Weapon Superpower. Lethal Weapon Superpower. What else? Spinatron says, Topps Jersey Edition is the first for Logo Man without auto. It's like middle school art project where the Logo Man pieces stick on top of the Logo Man. Okay.
He's right. It is like a middle school art project. It's not pretty, but it's okay. I mean, sometimes innovation isn't pretty.
No, exactly. Skeppy says, horizontal or vertical patch cards preference.
Yeah.
I don't really have a preference.
I don't care. I hear people talk about it and I'm like, I don't care. That doesn't matter to me. People like the way that it sits when it's vertical with the flip if they get it graded. And I get that. I just don't care. I just don't care.
I don't really care. I don't really have a preference either. And to be honest, a lot of the horizontal, like I would prefer a vertical, all else being equal, because it's just matches up with all my other cards. But limited logos in the cup hockey are horizontal and they are beautiful. Like they can't be beat as far as aesthetics goes. So
hey Jeremy,
but
I just had a heartbreaking moment. Can I tell you about it?
Yeah, please. So
you see the Kobe that's up there at the top right now?
Yeah.
So somebody in the chat knows I really wanted it super bad. This card's been on the top of my want list forever. It's numbered to 8. I have the Jordan to 23. I have one of Kobe's other first year autograph patch cards. There's 3 autograph patches from 2000, 2001. And I really wanted to win that today. And I was just hoping it would fly under the radar, and it didn't. And so it just jumped from 30. It was like 31 or 32. And I would have gone higher than that. But it just jumped to 65. And now I'm just sitting here sad. But anyway,
there's always more cards, Adam. Always more cards. Yeah. Listen, but sometimes there aren't, right? Sometimes there aren't when your want list is so narrow and a certain card from, a certain old card comes up like this. Maybe my one of my mantras being, there are always more cards to buy, just doesn't apply to you in this situation.
It doesn't. And this is what it's like. So this is what it's like and everybody out here knows this. When you're a rare card collector, speaking of like this Jabbar right here, right, that just got a bid, like if you want something that's really rare and there's other crazy people like you who want who want that same rare thing, you're going to have to just pay a ton for it. And then you hope that some way it'll pop up and it won't sell for too much, or maybe the market will be really depressed like it supposedly is right now. So I just came in here today thinking, there's so many awesome auctions. Maybe it won't get bid up. And now here it is at freaking 85 grand. And I'm like, dang it. I wanted this card, Jeremy. I wanted this card. And it's gone. I'm sad. I'm just sad.
All right. So Jesse's going to come in. As I said, he popped in. Isn't that funny? Hi, Jesse. I see you back there. So I'm going to, we'll bring Jesse on right away here. Jesse, give me the thumbs up if you're ready to go. He's not giving me a thumb. There it is. There it is. All right, let's bring Jesse onto the show. Jesse, Craig, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. You've been in the chat, so you were were you just sort of typing away as you were hanging out with putting your kids to bed, or what?
Yeah, we just got them down, so now I'm available to be on video. You wouldn't want to see that before.
No, I hear it. I have young kids too, and it can be disturbing to try and do a show while your kids are literally biting at your ankles.
Yeah.
What was the book of the night? What did you read to him tonight, Jesse?
Tonight, when Daddy works at night, it's iPad night. So we had no reading tonight.
Okay, good enough. Good enough.
Yeah.
So Jesse, I know. Listen, I think there's some cards that you'd like to take a look at that you find interesting. You might have some stories about. We're going to do that. I want to run through some comments here quick so we don't get too behind on those.
Sure.
And then we'll do that. Is that all right with you?
Sounds good.
All right. So let's talk about that. Kellen wants us to take a look at the Herbert NTs. Thoughts on having multiple of a key card in a single auction? Well, Jesse, let me uncover your face.
Yeah.
And you want to speak to that on behalf of PWCC when there's multiples of the same card in the same auction?
Yeah, it's always hard when you have clients that want to sell specific assets, and we actually have a rule where we don't put the same card in the same grade in the same auction. So we can have a Herbert RPA that's out of 25, out of 10, out of 99. We can have those in the same auction because typically there's different buyers for a lot of those, right? So, but we won't put out of 99 RPA that, put two PSA 9s in there or two 9.5s or whatever it may be. That's why you'll never see two PSA 10 Fleer Jordan rookies in an auction at the same time. We won't do that. So there's a little bit of there's some rules behind that for managing similar assets, but it's not a perfect science. Like, just to be frank, we have people that want to sell stuff, but we try to help manage it as much as we can. Like, there's just going to be a need to sell an out of 25 and an out of 99 in the same auction.
Okay, good to know, and thanks for addressing the question from Kellen. I want to go to Will's comment here. He says, being so light on the hockey side of things, what player do you think has the best chance of really breaking into this monthly auction and staying there for a while? Well, that's an easy question, Will Bennett. That's Connor McDavid. There's no doubt about it. He's got, I think, we had it right here. Connor McDavid has 6 cards in this auction this month. He had 4 last month, so that's trending upwards, and hopefully he does not get past my Calgary Flames. Sorry, go ahead, Jesse.
No, I know you're a big hockey guy, so we're just preparing for the onslaught of hockey that we're going to see up in Toronto in a couple weeks.
And what do you mean? What do you mean you're preparing for it?
Well, we're going to the Toronto show, so we're going to get a bunch of hockey that's coming in.
Yeah. Oh, so wait. Okay, now I'm clear. So you guys are going to be set up at the Toronto show, intaking cards for future auctions, and that's what Jesse's getting at. Is that, yeah, they're ramping up. We go from 4 McDavids to 6, and the 1 Gretzky. I think that's all the hockey in this auction. But to Will Bennett's question, it's Connor McDavid, like without a doubt. Gretzky, you'd like to see Gretzky there too, but he just it's all about more lately than the past sometimes. And so anyway, my answer to your question, Will, is Wayne Gretzky. Spinatron says aesthetics immaculate is top notch, which I definitely agree with. And Dave Boloton, iconic baseball cards, number 1 Honus, number 2 52 Mickey Mantle, and the Gaudi Lajoie would have been there in the past. Yeah, way back, I would have to think, like in the 70s. After that, there's more iconic cards that I believe have kind of become iconic. I'm going to try one thing here very quickly. Let's see if we do that. Keep Jesse from being covered by the comments. That might work. And I want to go to Vintage Card Collectors comment right here. Oh, there we go. Can you talk about the eye appeal of older logo men, the stitched versus the new ones? Yeah, my preference is the older ones for sure. They're stitched. They're more substantial. They're nicer. They have depth. They refract light differently. All that stuff. I think that's an easy answer there. Vintage Card Collector. I'm sure that was a loaded question. I don't know anyone who would prefer these ones, but hey, I guess you never know. Adam, does anyone prefer these ones to the old ones?
I don't know that anyone does, but they certainly tell a story about, the modern NBA.
That's
There's
a
a
good
clear
point.
there's a clear delineation between those, stitched ones from, what is it, about 5 years ago now, 4 years ago, and the newer ones. And so, you know, the great thing about our hobby is people have different types of things that they like, and if you want to have the best piece of uniform, that's largely thought of as the logo man, even though now today, they've changed it to more of a plasticky sort of feel.
True story. True story right there. Rubber Side Down says, do you think the majority, and this is for you, Jesse, do you think the majority of these big cards are going to collectors who aren't selling it anytime soon?
For the high end stuff, I do. I mean, look, we have a lot of high end guys that don't need to sell. So a lot of these cards that sell on a Premier Auction, they get sucked up by guys and they keep them in their collection. And look, we all know that the world economy right now is struggling, right? The market's down, crypto's down. There's a lot of things that are struggling. It's hard to buy real estate because rates have gone up. But the beauty of it is trading cards historically actually get affected less by recessions or depressions or whatever it may be than traditional markets, because it's the last thing that people want to sell. And so specifically with a lot of this high-end stuff, these are the guys that don't have to sell. They buy these as investments or even recreationally, and they're not going to sell these things. So they usually go into what we call strong hands, and they're stuck in there for a long time. You might not ever see them again, depending on how low serial number they are.
I mean, listen, there's been so many good cards. I talked about it earlier before you came on, Jesse. All the cards that I wanted to buy this past week that I couldn't buy because I was outbid. I tell you, if those cards ended up in my collection, they would not see the light of day for at least 25 years.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And I'm talking more that $5,000 card versus that $25,000 card. That's more my wheelhouse, and even that's pushing it when you talk multiple cards. So I that makes complete sense to me, Jesse. Adam, any thoughts on that from you?
No, I think you guys are spot on. The guys who are buying the biggest cards are, for the most part, people who don't have to sell, and so we're seeing less of an effect in that area. And as we've talked about especially with that Kobe, Jesse, I think you wanted to talk about, and the Kareem that we were just looking at too. When you get some of these cards that you've got multiple collectors that have waited for years to get them, I think one of the things that sometimes I've heard on some of the PWCC videos is Brent says, "Don't blink." You get a shot, and then that's it. You might not see it for years.
I think we need to go through a list of Brent-isms.
Let's do it after the show.
Okay, here's another one, Jesse. I'll ask you to opine on this, and I'll try and find the card. Game Time Gallery says, how could the 1951 Bowman Mantle SGC5 have a top 5% eye appeal rating when the print registration is way off? So I'll try and find this card right now. And in the meantime, is there anything you can speak to as far as these eye appeal designations go?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into it. So if the centering is really good, the corners are really good, the edges are really good, and the registration is off a little bit, it still factors into the overall eye appeal of a card. So it was our opinion when we were giving this an eye appeal sticker that even with that registration, this is in the top 5% overall when you're looking at a SGC 5 51 Bowman Mantle. Because
Okay,
look at the centering on that card for a 5. Great centering.
Yeah. And you know what?
Corners are really nice, and the registration's a little off. It's actually not that bad in my opinion.
I agree. I mean, the registration is definitely off. I don't know that it's way off. I mean, I've seen it's off for this card. I've seen very few 51 Bowman Mantles that have registration like this compared to where they have strong registration. But to your points, Jesse, the edges, the corners, the centering all look phenomenal. Top right corner definitely has a touch of wear, but you're going to expect that.
That's a 5, right? Like
it's
that's the biggest thing to consider. If this was a 7 or 6, it wouldn't have gotten that.
Right. No, of course. I honestly have no problem with the eye appeal designation on this because of listen, it's not that blurry. It's a little bit blurry. You see it around the bat here. You see that on these thick lines. The face isn't too bad. what I don't like about it is where these trees or whatever come down below the black border. That to me is the most offensive part of it, and it's still very minor.
Oh, I see what you're talking about. They come below the black border.
Yeah, just here.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I'm nitpicking, but that would bother me if I owned the card.
Sure.
Would it bother me enough not to want to own it? No. If this was
I mean, the truth of the matter is, just like grading in general, this was an opinion of, of us when we looked at this from an IPO perspective. And people can have a different opinion. I mean, that's what everybody just needs to take a step back when people are talking about grading and an RI appeal or NBA sticker or whatever it may be. It's an opinion. It should be a guide. Look at the card, educate yourself, be able to tell what you like, what you don't like, and pay accordingly. And that's really what it is.
You guys, Jeremy, you know a lot more about some of this vintage stuff than I do, but when I look at this card, the first thing that I think of is a couple months ago, you remember we had a couple manels that we compared to each other and we went back and forth on the centering. And I think side to side, one was, 30, maybe 25, 75, and then up and down on the other one. It was about the same. Looking at these edges, these corners, this centering, I would have thought that this card was a heck of a lot better than a 5. So do you think, Jeremy, do you feel like that the thing that really got this one was that registration issue? And if so, what do you think it would have been if the registration would have been on?
I mean, yeah, I think the registration definitely got it. You can see top to bottom centering isn't perfect, but it's still very good. The back has, it's got toning around the edges as you're going to see, as I prefer to see. I like that. I want my card to show its age a little bit, without being creased or too terribly rounded corners. Yeah, I mean, I have no issue with the eye appeal sticker on this particular copy, because it, like you said, Adam, you're surprised it's not a 6 or a 6.5, maybe a 7 even. I mean, there's things we can't see, of course.
That's the whole point of getting the S sticker, right? It's like when you look at that, if you're just looking right there and you're not looking at the grade, that window that you have right there, I don't think you would have guessed that's a 5.
I would not. I would not have guessed it's a 5.
It's, even though the registration's off a little bit from the eye appeal, like, man, that's a really nice card. That's probably at a minimum a 5.5 to a 6. And that's what an S sticker means. In the top 5% would mean that, it's likely undergraded in our opinion.
Got it.
Jeremy, I like your comment about the tone on the back too. I thought that's the sort of thing that I agree that personally doesn't bug me. And I've got a lot of vintage basketball too, where you can kind of just feel the age a little bit. I hope that doesn't really harm a grade of a card that much, because it just doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't do anything negative.
It shouldn't. I mean, that's just natural, like oxidization of a cardboard. And so actually when they're more white, chances are someone's tried to bleach it or do something to change that color on the back. This is more of a natural color from a card from the 50s.
Look at the detail you can see when you zoom in. Like the corners they're not perfect, but they're pretty darn good. That one up there coming down, a bit of rounding, an edge issue, right? Light edge issues. Like the cards, it's obviously not perfect. It's a 5, and I'm just trying to find something that, some other reason why it's not a higher grade besides the registration. I think it's just going to be corners. And there might be something on the surface on the front or the back that we just can't see. I wonder if the 360 would show. I'm not going to spend the time to hunt on this card. We've spent enough time on this card already at this point. But yeah, it's a great card. So to Game Time Gallery's comment, I think we've addressed it. And personally, I have no problem with that card having the top 5% eye appeal rating. Okay,
well, I agree.
Yeah, as you should. All right, let's go back to here and run through a few more comments.
2-minute phase here. We're after 8 o'clock, so 2 minutes, 2-minute clock.
2-minute clock for the next half hour, or the next 25 minutes, and then once we get to 8:30 Pacific, it goes to 1-minute windows.
Correct.
And then it can go pretty quick from there. Last time, I think we went about 50 minutes into the 1-minute windows. Tonight we might go a little bit longer, but
yeah, there's more quantity. So my guess is it'll get closer to I'm Pacific Standard Time, so 9:30 to 9:45 tonight. Might take a little bit longer to close it out.
Okay. Yeah, definitely could. Trevor Gates says, I have a super nice card. Do I need to go PWCC to maximize return, or is eBay okay? I'm full-time, top-rated eBay seller. Jesse, you want to try and make a sale here?
I mean, look, we don't sell high-end assets anywhere other than our Premier Auction for a reason. You get the 360, you get the custom video, all the marketing you see all over our platform. So, I mean, I know if I had an item that was valued over, let's say, $20K, where I would sell it. And granted, I'm biased, but I know how much traffic we get to our website. I know how much we put into these listings to make sure that they're curated, and we really want to represent these high-end assets to the best of our ability with all of the additional things we do. We're not just slapping 2 images up there and writing a quick description and seeing what happens. I mean, it takes a lot of time and energy to actually give the auction all the love that we do. So if I'm selling on our platform, and that's the reason why even when we were on eBay, we created our Premier Auction, because high-end cards don't do as well on eBay, in my opinion. So I would go with us, but I'm obviously biased.
Sounds good. I'm Dave Bulleton. I'm not going to bring on your next comment. I think it's just a difference of opinion, and that is fine. You don't have to like the sticker on that particular card, but I certainly don't. It does not offend me whatsoever. Jacob says, does registration factor into grading officially?
Yes.
Perfect. Yes.
It does, 100%. And that's actually why I think that card in an SGC 5 wasn't graded higher. I think if the registration was perfect, that card is a 6 to a 6.5 likely.
Yeah. Brendan Ryan likes the look of it. Brendan Ryan's making a name for himself on Instagram these days, taking YouTube content creators and turning us into Magic the Gathering cards. Thank you, Brendan Ryan, for including me on that project. A lot of fun. I'm liking seeing what you're doing with that. So keep that up, pal. Really am enjoying that, guys. If you're not following Brendan Ryan on Instagram, go ahead and do so. But you search for Brendan Ryan. I don't remember his Instagram handle off the top of my head right now. Vintage card collector, most interesting cards to compare: 52 Mantle, PSA, and SGC 5s, both top 30% eye appeal. SGC has a higher bid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's interesting to pull those two up, and my assumptions is that the centering of the SGC is likely a little bit better, if I remember them right, and that might be why the bid is a little bit better. It's even though they both got an A, I think that the centering, which is a large portion of eye appeal, was better on the SGC copy than the PSA copy, and I think that's why.
Well, let's do that. Let's call up these two cards and let's take a look. Let's take a look here and see what we got. So this is I'm going to just leave it at this size right here. This is the PSA 5. I mean, I love both of these cards. So the SGC seems to be a little bit off-centered left to right, a bit of tilt going on. I don't call it diamond cut, but a little bit of tilt, maybe narrower edge up here versus down here, and narrower edge down here versus up here. Surface, to me, I mean, looks really good. A little bit of fading here, but that might not be anything. Corners, edges, don't offend me whatsoever. Quick look at the back, nothing jumps out. A little off-centered right to left. So I don't know, that's a beautiful card. Let's take a look at the tops. So, bit of surface wear here, more than on the SGC, I would say. Corners a little bit more rounded on this PSA 5. If I'm looking at this one here, this one looks not perfect, but not too bad. Going down that corner, a little bit more rounded than the SGC. Definitely this corner here, not as nice as the SGC corners that we saw.
Mm-hmm.
And then the centering, if you just kind of look at the centering overall, the centering isn't as good to me as it is on the SGC. It just, this little gap right here,
right,
is.
And it's important to note though that like the centering for a PSA 5, that's very, very good centering still, right?
Oh yeah.
But that SGC copy, I mean, look, we talk about it being an opinion. I mean, maybe it's a little bit cockeyed, the SGC, like, or they call it diamond cut, cockeyed, whatever you want to say. But it's a little bit off. But then the corners are better, and so if that centering was, I mean, that thing would be probably a 6 if the centering was, if it was shifted just a little bit, it'd be probably a 6. It's a really nice copy. But they're both great examples of 5s. They really are.
I agree. In my opinion, these are both very strong 5s, because you can see 5s that are nasty looking. Neither of these are nasty. And listen, I would love to, Jesse, if you can find me a really nice PSA 3 of this card, I'd like to find one of those.
Okay, you got it, bud.
Yeah. Great. Just
all over it.
Hey?
I think what you guys are saying about the centering is key here. We see a lot of manels that are even higher grades that are more like 60-40 side to side, but both these are pretty darn nice on the centering. And I think, Jesse, did you say that the centering's maybe the most important of the 4 sort of subs as far as the eye appeal goes? Is that right?
It is, because when you're looking at a card, the first thing, I mean, I'm a very like symmetrical person, so the first thing that stands out to me is centering, and I think that's the most important thing from an eye appeal perspective, especially on vintage cards that have, and especially on the 52 Tops mantle or 52 Tops in general, where it is literally framed out like a painting, right? Yeah. So like the centering on that card stands out like a sore thumb. If you see Fogel's mantle that's a 10, it's a 10 for a reason. Now, look, we know that not all 10s are created equal. His 10 is phenomenal, and it is absolutely perfect. The centering is dead centered, and that is the most obvious thing when you're looking at one of these 52 Tops mantles that you notice being off is the centering. So it's super important. Or the 9 that Rob bought privately a couple of years ago through me, that one was dead center. I mean, you could argue it's a 10. It's nicer than one of the 10s I've seen, in my opinion.
Yeah, like, look, I'm going to a couple of comments here. First of all, David Chow, Shanghai Card Collector.
David, there's my buddy.
Here, taking a break from bidding. Good to see you, David. And curious what you're bidding on. If maybe wait till it's over to share if you want, but curious to know. Vintage Card Collector says corners on the SGC are quite a bit better. I said the same thing. Yeah, I'm with you on that for sure. Brendan Ryan says that blue-green background pops. I think it pops more on the SGC. If you just look at this right here, which you can't because our faces are in the way, but if we take the comment down, it's this area here that I'm looking at versus this area here. Yeah, the SGC, to me, is a nicer card overall. Now, I wanted to listen, a bit off topic here, Jesse, but we talk about diamond cut. I call it tilt. To me, diamond cut is when a card doesn't have perfect 90-degree corners, more of a parallelogram sort of thing, a minor one. And to me, this is just, the tilt is a centering issue. It's how were the printing plates laid down within the constraints of those 4 borders. So I don't know if people just commonly call tilt diamond cut by accident, or if I'm doing it wrong. What do you think?
I mean, you can call it tilt, you can call it a slew of things, to be honest. I think tilt's a great word for it. It's tilted. So yeah, we can go with tilt. That's fine.
All right. That's what I was hoping for. Let's go with tilt. I mean, that's what I'm going to keep calling it that, whether you do or not. But to me, that makes more sense. Diamond cut is where the card is not, again, you don't have perfect 90-degree angles on all 4 corners. John Pemberton says people are way too harsh. Those are both nice cards, solid grades. And David Chow says, I love the SGC example of the mantle. Looks like a 7, maybe a little surface issue that happens with some of my vintage, some unseen faults. Yeah, you can't see everything on these cards unless you have them in hand and can move them around under the light and all that sort of thing. What's up, Zed420? Good to see you. Says, how's 90s basketball insert market these days? It's pretty solid, Zed. It's pretty solid, I would have to say. Let's go Jeremy, back to the front here. Let's see what's going on. The Jaw got another bid recently, Adam. It's up to $65,000.
Shout out to Kirill Kim, by the way, in the comments. That's a great guy in the industry. If you guys don't know him,
I do not know Kirill Kim. Good to see you. He hopes you're well, Jesse.
That's
Jeremy. Before we get too far away from the 52 mantles, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention like maybe one of my favorite cards in the whole auction. We haven't even talked about it. There's a 52 Topps mantle with an autograph on it. We haven't even mentioned it one time. Can we go look at that?
Yeah. That card. I don't know. Thank you for bringing that up, Adam, because that card, in my opinion, and the Cobb that we have, the Cobb's even more rare. There's only two T206 Cobbs that have been graded by PSA DNA that have an autograph on them. And the Cobb is gorgeous. That mantle, I think there's only 14 in the history of PSA DNA that have actually been graded to have an autograph. And I love where the auto is on that card too, how it's in that blank space. It's vertical. Because for me, 90s cards, right? Some of the best inserts of the 90 cards are those white space Jordan inserts, like the Sign of the Times, that have that vertical Jordan auto on it. And so I kind of think of that when I see this vertical mantle auto. And like the supply on these things is fixed. Like you're never going to have any more. And so I think that the rarity of these cards being Hall of Fame, in some cases rookies, and in other cases just commodities or most important cards in our industry, they don't get the love that they should. I mean, this card should be worth way more than it's sitting at, to be frank.
So my take on this card, I went through the whole auction and I picked out, it was tough, but I picked out 5 cards I wanted to talk about. And this was one of them. This card, as I did that little bit of research, found the same thing as you. There's 14 of these that have been graded by PSA with the autograph, PSA DNA. What if you compare that to how many there are in the whole of the PSA database that are just 52 mantles, which of course is a grail of grails type card. There's about 131 copies of normal mantle unautographed for every one that's autographed. I can't remember the last time I saw one of these that was available. You don't see them ever come available because it's the iconic card with a signature. Now, again, it's a 1. Ironically, there's only, if I remember right, there's only 5 copies that are graded higher than a 1. So, if you're waiting for it,
there's a lot of authentics in PSA 1s.
That's right. That's right. So there's only 5 total that are graded higher than that. I look at that and I say, that's one of the coolest things out there, because you're never going to find a mantle 52 to begin with, but then to get one that's also signed, I can't imagine you're going to see one more than every 3 or 4 years.
I completely agree. So let's transition from there to something even more rare, which is that Cobb I was discussing. Can you pull that up, Jeremy? Because that Cobb it's my second favorite card in the entire auction outside of the Brady.
The Brady's your favorite?
Yeah, I mean, when are you going to find a 101 Brady? Like, good luck, right?
I said earlier the Brady was my favorite too. So
yep. Okay, there you go. And shout out to David Owens and Sean. What's up, guys? See you in the comments there. But so zoom in on that autograph. Now, this doesn't have an auto grade, and the reason it's a 1, obviously the creasing, the back's missing some paper, but look at how nice that auto is. And it's cool because Cobb actually traditionally signs in green ink, and this is not green ink. So this is actually even more rare than a standard Cobb auto, because the majority of Cobb autos you'll find are all green ink, and this is not. And that is a great autograph.
I like that it's a fountain pen. Maybe it's before the time of ballpoints.
I know, right? You're dipping it in and literally, yep. It's amazing. The history of that card and how important the T206 set is for our market it can't be denied. So this card is one of my favorite in the auction. I think, once again, not to pump all these things, but this card should be sitting higher than it is right now. And if I could bid in our auctions, I would be bidding on this card.
Well, it definitely has paper loss. You can see this card was, pasted in an album or something. Yeah, this was pasted in an album, and it was then removed from that album. That's what the paper loss. You can kind of tell there was glue right there. And so, I mean, listen, I don't feel the same way you guys do. I don't like either of these cards. And
you're wrong.
I'm wrong. Yeah. But I don't. And listen, I'm not knocking them. They're important. I get it. I'm not an autograph on these. I'm not an autograph guy on these cards. I would rather have a really nice green portrait Cobb in a PSA 4 without creases, paper loss, and I would sacrifice the auto. But I get how important that autograph is. I'm not like naive to that. And same thing with this card. Listen, I would love to have a beautiful PSA 3 or higher, of course, versus a 1 with like a tear in it over there with an autograph. But again,
I get it. To
that's
each his own, right?
it's
To each
what
his
I'm
own.
collecting.
Yeah,
It's what I
that's the
collect.
beauty of our market is that we don't have to agree on what we like. And that's why there's little niches and everybody can collect or invest in whatever they like. For me, the reason that I love this is that specific player of that card that you want to own, they've actually held and touched that card. That for me, the history of that carries a lot of weight.
That's a huge thing. I don't deny that. So for me, my approach, guys, would be I'll buy myself a 52 tops mantle without an autograph, and then I'll go maybe buy that mantle Griffey dual auto that came out in the 90s, and get my mantle auto that way. Listen, I'm not going to do that, but that would be my approach.
The great thing about what you guys are both saying here is you've got three really opinionated people here who all really like their cardboard, and we have differences of opinion, right? I will tell you is I'm not one of these guys who's like independently wealthy. I have to really think hard when I'm going to buy a really big card. And so a lot of times I have to sell stuff to buy stuff. And what I found myself doing, take this for what it's worth, my vintage basketball that's also autographed, but really rare. Like I've got a Maravich 71 with a beautiful autograph on it and a 61 Fleer West with about as nice of a perfect blue autograph, perfectly centered as you're ever going to find. I can't sell either of those cards because although I might find other cards that are big in my collection that I could sell again, I'm never going to find that really nice autograph on the card again because, like we say, with the Cobb, you've got 2 of them in the whole world, and you've got 14 mantles. And so for me, where I care about like real, like super rare, not going to see it again, that's something that's crucial to me in my collection. I personally love the autographs on the vintage cards, but I've heard a lot of people like Jeremy who are just card people. They don't want the autograph there unless it was meant to be there. And that's where we just highlight that we're all different and we got to collect what we like.
And you mentioned 61 Fleer, which is, in my opinion, that's actually my favorite set in all of cards. Holistically, that whole set. There's so many important cards in the 61 Fleer set. So a good West auto and that set's amazing.
Good stuff, guys. I like that we can like different things and come away all still as friends. It's very nice, very nice. Brent, I'm going to go to some comments. Brendan Ryan here says, I think saturation should be on the grading scale. I think what you mean is the amount of ink that got pressed down. If that's what you're talking about, I think it would be part of the surface grade overall when they're just looking at the print quality, but I'm not sure. I'm no professional grader. David Owens in the house. What is up, David? Good to see you. My guy, Sean, Victory Investments in the house. Says perfect spot for the auto on the 52 Mickey mantle, no doubt. Dexflow says T20 what? T206 Dexflow. T206. Bobby says we love Jesse, but I miss Eric Howley Hustle. Yeah, we'll get Eric back in a couple months, I'm sure. He's just taking a break.
He's in Dallas right now traveling.
He's in Dallas at the show. Yeah. The Dallas show starts this weekend. Rob Gardner makes a comment. Good evening, fellas. Any thoughts on some of the amazing triple on-card autos that are up on the auction? Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, and Jordan, Pippen, Rodman. Still feel like there's some upside on these. So while I go find those cards, I'll let you guys talk about them. How's that sound?
Well, this is right up Adam's alley, so I'll let him take this one away.
This is definitely my alley. I would say that the Bulls triple that we have here, I don't think we've seen one of these yet in our year of doing the Premier Auction, Jeremy. It's Rodman, it's Pippen, it's Jordan, all on the same card. And I think as I asked around about this, I think there's only 35 cards total, like 35 total specimens where those 3 guys have all signed the card. So there's a reason why we haven't seen very many of them. I feel like I keep saying this, but it's one of my 5 favorite cards in the auction. I compared that to the big 3 one. I really like the big 3 one too with Kobe, LeBron, and Jordan. I'm not sure which of those I like better, but as a Jazz fan of the 90s, maybe I don't need that triple Bulls autograph in my home. Maybe I'd go with the big 3.
Stuff of nightmares for you.
Well, so here's the first one. This has got Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron. This is a BGS 8.5. The surface is an 8. I looked at that immediately simply because I'm noticing some surface wear here, and here.
Not
I think
uncommon
that's
on those SPs.
what's that?
So it's not uncommon on those cards to have surface wear on the foil on those SPs on the triples.
Right.
Yeah,
That's an impossible card to photograph. By the way, the 3D,
It is.
360 on this is going to be kind to us, I think.
yeah. It's a tough one to photo for sure.
So let's take a look at the next one here. This is also Jordan, Kobe, LeBron. These are sticker autos, so not quite the on card as the last one, but still pretty impressive. So look at this is at $120,000.
Well, go back to that
auto
Kobe really quick.
What's that?
So go back to the last one. What's interesting on this one, I just noticed this. It looks like the sticker was actually on the card when Kobe signed it because the tail goes off the sticker onto the card, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's super weird, isn't it?
Isn't that weird?
Maybe that's what's going on here. I don't think it is actually, because see this little faint line right here?
Oh, yeah.
Sticker's coming over
that's the edge of it. So the holographic upper deck isn't the edge of the sticker. I see what you're saying.
Correct.
Got it.
Yeah, good
Got
call.
it. That looks weird.
I think isn't this a 5-star sticker? Isn't there 2 more autographs on the back of this one? I think there are.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
There is.
That's why it's
Garnett and Carmelo.
Yeah. Garnett kills it. I'm not a Garnett fan.
I love Garnett. What's Garnett
for you?
He's a prick. He is.
Well, he was great in Minnesota.
I've got some stories off camera that I've heard from some NBA players that I could tell you.
I've got a quad that has Garnett on it. Don't talk too bad about it.
Sorry.
Just kidding.
What I want to draw attention to this though, guys. So this is on card auto, 120,000. Sticker autos, 27,000. Higher grade. What's going on? Oh, that's 5 autos, but not much.
Well, it's the guys on the back that kill it.
Yeah, it is for sure.
But the nice thing is at least they're on the back. And then you've got this one. This is on card, definitely on card. Now you don't have Kobe and LeBron, so it's not the same card. But what do you got? Listen, I don't follow triple autos like you guys do, or especially you, Adam. What do you think of this card at this price? And what do you think of Rodman wearing the towel on his head?
It's rare.
This is my favorite of the 3 that you just showed. Like, are you ever going to see Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen with the history they have now sign together again? They're not going to. And this is the greatest team of all time. It's the greatest player of all time with his 2 best teammates of all time. And there's only 35 of them. I just think, like, if you look at the other one, the other one's over $100,000, right? I think it was 120. Like that one has had enough sales to get to the point where people have just accepted that it's a 6-figure card. But as far as like historic importance, relevance of the 3 that are together, you don't get any better than these 3 guys.
You don't see the 3 of them on much in general. And actually, we made a video of it just highlighting some stuff in the vault. But we have the only triple logo man known of those 3 on one card in our vault, which is really, really cool. From I think it's 05 Exquisite. But I think Spinatron must have some KG in his collection because he's trying to hype up KG right now. He's agreeing with you, Adam. He says KG's the man.
Spino's smart. Spino's a really smart guy.
I disagree with you guys.
Without him, Celtics is a drought of between Bird and Tatum. A drought of championships between Bird and Tatum.
What about Paul Pierce? What about him? Huh?
Paul Pierce could barely make it to the playoffs without KG. Jesse, come on. What are we doing here?
I met Paul when we were in Vegas for the Mint, and he was. I'm a Laker fan, so I hate the Celtics in general, and that's part of the reason why the KG hate is there. But Paul Pierce couldn't have been a nicer guy. He really couldn't have been.
I had the opposite experience with him, so I'm glad one of us had the good experience.
He was hilarious. We had a good chat.
He must not. I guess I'm too tall for his liking. I don't know. And Max here says Garnett could hoop. He's just a terrible person.
My guy Max. There we go. There we go.
There's some backup for you, Jesse. Game Time Gallery calls out the 48 Leaf Jackie PSA 5 for $16,000. Good price for that card, which I would agree with. Let's take a look. This is the card that I really want to acquire as well. The Noise Boys MJ, and 16 seems like a fair price on that. But let's take a look at the Jackie, which is a card that I love. It might be I have a copy of this card. It's one of my favorite cards in my whole collection. I just love everything about
it. That's why. So it probably actually needed a qualifier on it, to be frank.
The centering.
Yeah, so this is an eye appeal thing. So because it's so far off center, left to right, that's affecting the value. That's just the fact.
Left to right and top to bottom. So Jesse, I have the same card in a PSA 6.
Sorry,
and it has
I'm just looking on your video. I can't see the top to bottom very well.
Oh, hold on. Let me take the comment off. And
there we go. Yeah. See, it's almost miscut, to be frank. And that's what you're seeing reflected in the bidding on this card. It's great. The color on this thing is unbelievable, though. The color, the registration, the corners, the edges, everything else is amazing. But once again, from an eye appeal perspective, centering is huge, and it's almost 90-10.
So this card, if there was a qualifier, it'd probably be like a PSA 7 or a PSA 8 with an OC, or I don't think you get MC, but it'd definitely be an OC qualifier.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean MC. I meant OC. Correct.
I think you said OC. I think you said it. I'm just saying that. But I think that this card, it's a 7. It's a 7 without the centering. So listen, there are people out there, and I've met them, who don't care about centering. They love a PSA 9 OC because you're getting a PSA 9 for the price of a PSA 6 or 7. That's what they told me. I met these two youngish guys at the National, and that's what they were telling me. They were hunting PSA 9 OCs. And I thought, what an interesting approach. I've never heard of that before. So this card is going to appeal to some people where centering isn't the number one criteria for them. And again, all the power to them. And they're going to get a great value at the price. So good for them, really. Here, I don't know if Peeps is being serious. I was just centering is overrated, and you're not the only one who feels that way. So
it looks like
the surface. Look at this surface and color, everything to me. I'm a surface. I put surface ahead of everything too. Centering is important to me too, but I put surface and registration and color and surface wear ahead of corners and edges. Definitely.
Oh, we're down to 1 minute, guys. We're 8:32. 1 minute clock.
1 minute clock.
It should come in with fury here now.
Here we go.
So anytime there is a minute, if a minute goes by without any bids at all on any items, then we know that this auction is coming to a close. I'm going to mix things up here and just go back to not that. Sorry, guys. Not that one. Where is it? There it is. We're going to go back to this one for a second. I'm just going to read these. Oh, look at Connor $95,000 on a
great number for that card.
It's a great number for that card. What's that, Jesse?
That's a great number for that card.
That is a big number for that card, for sure. Because he also has the Cup RPA, which I actually think Exquisite's a nice looking card, but the Cup is more important in the hobby.
We have a BGS 9, I think, in this auction, right? Cup.
I think so. Wonder what that's at. Let's have a quick look at.
Oh, great! We got him sidetracked on hockey.
We also need to sort by highest here pretty soon, Jeremy. We haven't done that yet.
Yeah, we'll do that. Let me take a quick look here at the Cup RPA. BGS 9 is at 80, and the PSA 10 Exquisite is at 95. So they're neck and neck. Actually,
are those both game used? I actually don't know hockey as well. Are they both?
I believe this one is. This one, we need to look at the back. So why don't we take a look? We'll just prove both here. I'm going to close out these triple auto cards that we were looking at before. Take the Jackie off the screen.
Jesse, are we going to see some fireworks on the Brady?
I hope so. It's a lot less than I thought it'd be. I'm wondering if there's just some big boys that are waiting towards the end to hit it.
I will never understand, and it's nothing against this card, but I'll never understand how contenders can be worth what it's worth if the 101's only worth. It doesn't make sense to me. But people like different things. So we'll see what happens.
The Exquisite is rookie photo shoot. And the cup is, I believe it's game worn.
Another event used, both event used.
Rookie photo shoot. I was wrong. Rookie photo shoot. Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Well,
right.
at least it's the same level playing field.
Yeah, it's true. Level playing field, exactly. These two, these are great guys. This is an example of a card with a lot of white on the background, but a great design nonetheless. Where I don't feel like I did about that National Treasures jaw logo man. But in any event, the premium here from a BGS 10, which scores a total. Oh, sorry, the BGS 10 10 10 10 9 5. That's 39.5. This one is 38. So it's got 4 9 5s. You add that up, you get a grade of 38. 1.5 grade points is worth almost $30,000. So really interesting the way that all works out. A couple more Connors here. This is a rookie year emblems of endorsement, which is a beautiful
What
card.
would be curious is to see if that is game used. I'm assuming
it's not going to be. I don't think, but let's have a look just to be certain.
Event, yeah. Same thing. Okay.
Yeah, same thing. Oh, I love this card. I love the 81 MJ and the Larry for that matter. There's a Gretzky rookie up to 24K. I think that's the 8.5, isn't it? I believe that's the 8.5 on the Gretzky rookie. Yeah, PSA 8.5. We could take. I have to take a look. It's the obligatory.
I told you we'd be stuck on a hockey tangent here.
So this one, the registration is not perfect. The Oilers sits lower than the word Edmonton. Two different plates, the black versus the magenta, I guess. You've got that rough cut on the right edge, which hockey collectors love and accept it. The oil drop is not sitting perfectly here in its place. It's a bit down to the right. I mean, this card overall, not my favorite 8.5, if I'm being honest about it. Bit of a print. No, not the saturation isn't quite there on the black plate. The fuzzy, the blurry face. But this card also, not if this was. I think this is an example where it's a weak 8.5, and the price is probably reflecting that. This would be in the mid 30s, I think, if it had better centering and better registration. So
I agree with that.
But at the time, PSA must have really liked everything else about it to give it that extra half grade point. So, okay. And that second year Magic is what a card. Oh, there's a nice Jordan limited logos. And here we are, 200,000 on Brian's PSA 10 Kareem Abdul-Jabbar sticker, and still counting, most likely.
I still think that thing's going to go for over 300. That's
out the door.
That's my all in. I think it'll finish over 300. That's what I would hope, especially for Brian's sake.
Yeah, it'd be great for him.
Brian's a stud too. He's one of my favorite people in this industry. Love that guy.
He's a good guy. The Cajun Cardboard is his YouTube channel, and he deep dive. He's a basketball only guy, and he does his deep dives. Basically, does daily videos on his YouTube channel, actually. So yeah, he's a good dude for sure. Jesse, are there any other cards that you wanted to take a look at while we have you?
Did I catch you guys talking about the Kobe autograph out of 8 already? Were you guys already talking about that? Okay.
Yeah,
that was my card I wanted to bid on that I was telling you guys about.
What's that sitting at? I haven't even looked at it.
85.
80 with the juice or without?
Without.
Okay, good. Yeah, I thought the over under on that card was about 90. So I think that's a good number for the piece. What's the Trey Gold at? I don't own a single Trey Young card, but I think that Trey Young is extremely undervalued for what he does at his size. And I think the Hawks are still really young and have a bunch of upside. So I'm curious what that Trey Young Gold NT's at.
It's amazing. It's amazing the difference that, doing well in the playoffs can create, because last year everybody was saying, oh, hey, maybe the Trey for Luka deal wasn't such a bad deal for the Hawks. And now it seems like everybody's forgotten that.
Yeah, it's interesting, but I love that card. I think that's it might still be a little bit cheap if you compare it to the Jaws and all those guys that still haven't won anything. A gold NT RPA that's feels inexpensive. And speaking of gold NT RPAs, we have a Zion in there. Zion's an interesting one because the Pelicans actually made a pretty good run this year, and if he comes back healthy and actually stays on the Pelicans, they have a high draft pick that they got from the Lakers. I think they're the only lottery team that made the playoffs. That are the only team that made the playoffs to have a lottery pick. So they're kind of an interesting team. Where if he comes back healthy next year, I think his stuff actually it's sitting pretty low because he hasn't seen a court an entire year. But he could make a run, and his stuff could go way up next year. Speculation, high risk, but it's an interesting card.
Yeah, I agree. If he comes back and becomes what he was expected to become, now's the time to buy. When this product came out, that was not the time to buy. Now would be a good time for sure. Buy when everyone else is selling. What does Warren Buffett say?
That's right.
Fear when people are greedy, and be greedy when people are fearful.
And another one to look at is the what's the Curry RPA sitting at?
Ooh, that's a gorgeous
280,
card.
I think.
Is that it?
Yep.
I know the auto looks like he had a seizure on that card. But I mean, it's just the truth. He like got bumped when he was signing it or something.
Oh, yeah.
But the patch on that card is unbelievable.
It's fire, as they say these days. The patch is fire.
I think we've used this exact card in BCF as the image a lot of times, because you're right about that little bit on the autograph there, Jesse. But you don't see you're not going to find a better patch on that card.
That's the best patch I've ever seen for any of his RPAs, and a lot of them have really good patches. But that, the R and the S for Warriors, that's obviously where they touch right there. I love the look of that patch, and I think we sold the last one that was I think it was a True Gem Plus, and the auto was a 10. Great patch as well, but I think that sold for $700. So my guess is this one's going to get some bids late. It just feels like it's sitting way too low.
And he's still playing, so he's relevant for the "What have you done for me lately" crowd. That's for
He
sure.
sure is.
Go ahead, Jesse.
No. I was just, since we're on the Curry train, another really cool Curry in the auction is the Topps Chrome Refractor BGS 10. It's only a pop 3.
Ooh.
There you go.
Wow.
So that card, I mean, you think about, it'd be interesting to look up what the pop is of LeBron's top Chrome BGS 10. I know it's much higher. The card's much easier because PSA 10 is much higher as well, and there's only 20. Do you know what it is, Adam? 20 something PSA 10 Currys.
I don't.
I think that's what it is. It's a pretty low pop because the back of that card, being black border, was very difficult to get a PSA 10 or a Beckett 10. And a lot of Beckett 9.5s have 9 corners because of that back black border. And you can just see a lot of white on the corners of those cards. So I'd be curious, is that 9.5 that we have up right there? Does that have 9 corners? I'm guessing it does. Yeah, exactly. So getting and does the BGS 10 have 10 corners, or is it 9.5 corners?
9.5.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful card, and being a pop 3, if you want rarity from a pop perspective, I mean, good luck waiting for another one of these to show up.
Pop 3 is
characters are iconic for basketball rookies.
Yeah, pop 3 is going to be tough to find another one of those unless the pop grows. But that is a card that is numbered out of 500 or
500.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's going to be tough to. Oh, there it is, right there. It's going to be tough to find another one of those at this point in time. You got to think. Just scrolling through the rest of the Currys, he had a lot of cards in this auction. That's a beauty right there. Like immaculate. Immaculate just puts NT to shame.
Immaculate's so underrated in my opinion.
So underrated, man.
I love Immaculate. Flawless, immaculate. Anything that has game used patches, I just don't understand why they don't get more love.
This is a card I would have liked. I should have made a play on this card. It's a beaut. It's a beaut. And under 10,000 on that, crazy. Out of 30.
What's the green Kaboom Brady at?
Let's have a look. Let's do a Brady search now. While that's coming, I'm going to go to a few comments here. Matt Clark said, didn't PSA get rid of qualifiers recently? I heard they've reduced the use of them, but I'd encourage you to go to their website and just find out exactly what's going on. Chris Muir, registration is key on the 48 leaves. I agree with that. Spinatron says, guys like girls with 2 eyes on one side, but with good skin. Okay, thanks, Spinatron. Appreciate that. Benny Cromwell, what's going on? Jason Mills wants to know what the row 2 jersey numbered Kobe is at. We haven't looked at that for a little while, but it was doing pretty well earlier, I think. Adam, do you know what that card's at?
I'll find it real quick.
Thank you. I'll let you do that. Peep says the registration on that Gretzky is tough. Yes, I agree with that. It was. Toledo Silver, welcome to the show. What's going on? Peeps can't believe the cream sticker at about over 200K. Spinatron PMG green mint, very hard. Yeah, almost impossible. Almost impossible. Spinatron says Trey needs a good hairdresser.
So true. I think he just needs to shave his head is what he needs to do. Just give up.
62.5 is what John Pemberton says. Is that the price on the Kobe out of 8?
Yeah, that's the 8 of 150. The Kobe out of 8 is at 85,000. The thing that we didn't talk about, Jeremy, I should have realized, but there's actually a row 1, row 2, and row 0 legacies of Kobe all in this same auction. So if you want to compare the three, they're all out of 150, and you can see,
but it's row 2. Row 2 is the true rookie, right?
Yeah, that's how most people think about it. The row 0 though is, I would argue the row 0 legacy is man, between that and the credentials, those are his two best looking rookie cards in my opinion.
That Brady Green 101, I'm kind of surprised how low that is.
Yeah,
I think that's got some room left still.
Well, you're surprised, like why?
Well, if you base it on what I think, I mean, look at what we have a gold PSA 10 Curry in this auction that I think is similar in pricing, if not higher.
Yeah, so Kaboom. Well, here, let's just do Kaboom here.
Yeah, let's do Kaboom.
And before we go to Kaboom, I just want to call out this card here. I think is absolutely stunning. Again, flawless and immaculate. Just so nice compared to NT, to my eyes at least. Mm-hmm. But okay, let's do the Kaboom search.
That's weird.
That doesn't make sense.
I wonder why that's happening.
That's funky.
Does it have like an exclamation point on it or something?
Oh, maybe.
Adam, look at you.
I'm so good with my Boolean operators. You don't even know.
So here's the Curry out of 10 gold, 50K.
Look, granted, Brady. It's a PSA 10, but I mean, Brady's is a 101. So I just don't understand. And even Messi 9.5 gold is at 38. That Brady needs, I mean, I thought that was going to bring, it still might, but I was expecting that to bring close to 6 figures, if not 6 figures.
I think this says a couple things.
Yeah, sorry, one sec. I'm surprised it's not at 6 figures also. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, I am too. I think it says a couple things though. One is, and
look, there's a gold. It's first year. Sorry to cut you off. First year gold is at 55 for Brady.
This is what I was getting at is people love gold. I mean, it's that simple. We've seen some Kobe 1-of-1s sell recently for not that much more than the out of 10s have sold for, and part of that, we always say that rarity wins, and rarity does win. I think even the 1-of-1s are going to sell for more than the ones out of 10, but people love gold.
Yeah, they do. That's very true, and that there's some weird nuances in our industry that to me don't make a lot of logical sense. And I understand people love what they love, but the gold versus 101 stuff, or a gold versus an emerald for an NT, or a gold versus a black gold for Prism, or flawless versus NT in general, those things don't make sense to me. Logically, I want lower numbered. Logically, I want game used. So I don't understand them. I just don't get it.
The other thing that I've seen, Jesse, I've seen this on a number of sets. So set collectors can drive pricing a lot.
Oh, 100%.
And nobody's putting together the 101 set. That's player collector / investor / driven. But a card out of 10, like the gold Kaboom set, I don't know that anybody's putting that together. I don't want to speak like I know that. Mm-hmm. I can see a world though where set collectors drive some level of the interest in that, and you're just not going to see that on a 101.
That's a fair point.
Having said that, I agree with you on the Brady 45.
I'd like to see somebody put together a green Kaboom 101 set. I think that'd be fun.
When you said no one collects the 101 sets, I thought, well, Spinatron sort of does. He likes to go after some of that stuff.
Spino's got more rare stuff than sheesh.
For sure. I Collect Ichiro has joined us. What is up with you? Forgot about switching to Thursday this go around. Yeah, and I believe, Jesse, that the Premier Auction now for the duration of the summer, so June, July, August, they will all end on Thursdays. Is that the current plan?
Not necessarily. So the reason we moved this one to Thursday, we've done them on different days, but the reason we moved this one to Thursday was there was a couple other auction houses closing on Saturday, and we just felt like for the market and the industry, it's just not good to have that many different places selling high-end stuff in one night, so eyeballs are bouncing around. It's to protect our consigners and also to protect or give bidders a real fair shake at paying attention to an auction. So we just proactively moved it to a Thursday, which is a good night because most people are home. Saturdays, sometimes, two things can happen. You get a guy that gets, maybe gets a few drinks in him and maybe bids more than he should. So you get that advantage on a Saturday, right? But then again, sometimes people are out and about on Saturdays and they miss bidding because of that. So Thursdays have historically been great for auctions. And we just felt like, we had the responsibility to move it to a Thursday.
Okay. Good. Thanks for answering that. I'm going to move us three to the bottom of the screen like that. And I'm going to bring up
that Giannis Green that just got bid on. That's an interesting card. I had actually never seen that before until this auction. It's actually numbered out of 5.
Wow. That's rare.
It's a really, really rare select Giannis. It should be, I don't know what it's worth because it's select, but once again, you talk rarity. I know it's a weird parallel that nobody really sees, but if you look at the back of the card, it's actually out of 5. Hopefully that's not one that Adam was chasing and now he's upset I said that.
No, I'm just, every time that Kobe pops up, I'm getting irritated that I'm not winning it.
I saw the look in your face. I'm like, something's going on.
Yeah, I wanted that one, man. I wanted that one, but it is what it is.
I'm just going back and forth between the windows, and the top of the ticker is a little bit different. I guess it just depends where when you.
Well, that's once again, it's because of how many bids we got 1 minute clock. So with all the bids coming in, it leaves it up there for a certain amount of time. It's like 2 or 3 or 4 seconds, and it just can't put every single one up there on the ticker that gets bid on.
Okay, I'm going to do 2 comments here. The first one is from Skeppy. He says, Jesse, if you could please elaborate more about game used. What are some specific points of interest for you? Because I agree 100%.
So game used wise, if you look at basketball specifically, NT is player worn. So it's not game used. Flawless is game used. And correct me if I'm wrong, Adam, Immaculate's game used as well, right? For rookies.
There's some stuff that is, but I think a lot of it's not game used, unfortunately.
Okay. I just believe in, and to be frank, I have been buying lower end stuff, but all game used cards. I don't have a single card that has a patch in my collection that is not game used because I feel like that carries more value because it was actually worn in a game by a player than something that they maybe throw in the locker room and took off and now they can call it player worn. You can literally wear it for 1 second. It's player worn, right? So for me, that carries more weight. Now you have people that literally take the opposite argument and said, I don't want anything that has someone's nasty sweat on it in my card. Right? But I disagree. I want that sweat. I want that equity that they put in on the court to achieve what they achieved. And I want that in my card. And I'd much rather have a card that had a game used product in it than player worn. So that's what I was alluding to. And basketball specifically, NT has been the staple, and NT cards sell for more than Flawless in basketball for rookies, but I don't think that should be the case. And I think that the recent run up on 2022 Flawless with, the chase for the LeBron, I think it's helped the Flawless market. It's brought some attention to Flawless in general, which I think is good, right? But it's not comparable to NT yet. So I think we still have a ways to go. If it was me, Flawless would be above NT. And also, if you look at an individual box price, Flawless is more expensive than NT, and it's more fun to open too. I mean, you get a briefcase, you get to do some, you get to disclose some sealed cards. It's a more fun product. It's a higher end product from a price point per box, and so I just don't understand why that doesn't translate to the final sale price, especially for basketball rookies that are game used.
Yeah, and you get Drake in your break as well. Right. I just want to say I 100% agree with you. I don't understand you take two cards that have all the same attributes, on card auto, serial numbered to 10 or whatever, 99, and a patch. And if one patch is game used, one is player worn, event worn, rookie photo shoot, whatever it is. If in any case the game worn sells for less than the other, the hobby's
look at the timing of this.
backwards.
Sorry to cut you off. Look at the time of this. See Spino's comment. That Tatum championship tag is a sweet card. That's his card. It's getting some action right now. That is a game used championship tag that's on the back of their jerseys that they wear. So great Tatum piece right there that's getting some action.
The Tatum's awesome because Celtics have more championships than anybody else. I guess tied with your Lakers, right? With 17.
Are they tied?
I think they're tied.
I think they're tied.
I could be wrong, but
it's close. If it's not tied, it's close. But I should know that as a Laker fan. But
okay. Next question. I want to go. David Chow asks a question here. I think it's an important one. He says, is it possible to change the extended format in some ways? There are cards I want to bid during extended, like the Brady you just mentioned, but because I did not bid beforehand, I cannot. Now, I know that you guys have this policy for a very specific reasons, but I'll let you address David's question nonetheless.
Yeah, and I love David, but the point of this is to get your, they've been up for 2 weeks. So, you should have plenty of time to get your bids in and plan accordingly. But the reason they're like this is so that there's some action on these cards before you get into extended bidding. Otherwise, you have no incentive whatsoever to bid on a card before it closes. So it honestly, from a auction house perspective, it makes all the sense in the world to require people to bid on an asset before it gets into extended bidding, and it's likely not going to change. That's just the way it is. So, David, love you, but make sure you pay attention earlier.
There you have it. Here we go. Lakers, Celtics both have 17 apiece. John Wee from the Center Stage app, friendly to this channel, says, I wish I could travel back in time and buy all the Steph Curry rookies out there. John, I would want to ride with you and I would race you to the store to buy them.
Absolutely.
Here's a question though that I want to get both of your guys' thoughts on this one. The Freak asks, how much premium do you think a jersey number card would add? Adam, I think you and I have probably talked about this several times. Let's let Jesse start with this one. Where do you sit on this, Jesse? What do you see in the market?
Well, it depends on the card. So if the card is low serial numbered and it's jersey numbered, it doesn't carry as much of a premium as if the card is higher numbered and it's jersey numbered. So if there's 2,000 of something that exists and you have let's say it's Jordan and you have a 23 of 2,000, well, that card should be considered basically a 101 because it's one of 2,000 cards, right? That's the one card out of 2,000. Now, if the card's numbered out of 25 and it's jersey number, I think there's still a premium. I mean, it's probably, I'd say it's 1.3 to 1.5x what the normal card would go for in that scenario. If it's out of 2,000, I mean, you might be looking at 2.5 to 3x. I mean, treat it as a 101, it could go 5x, right? It's that rare when you have a higher serial numbered card and a jersey number.
Adam, how about you?
That's the way I'd look at it.
Yeah, I totally agree with Jesse. It just depends on the card. I have a specific card I'm thinking of right now that was easy to find, but terribly difficult to find, the jersey number one, obviously. And I probably paid, I mean, it's crazy, but I probably paid 10x what the value was. But I really wanted the unique thing, right? The one of one type thing in my collection. So to me, it was worth it. So
here's a take, guys. I also like jersey numbered cards. I also like 1 of 100s or 100 of 100s. I don't care much about 25 of 25 or 1 of 25, but I still think they're cool. But here's where I go off the rock. Some people will think I'm off my rocker. I like when a hockey card is numbered 99 of 100, even if it's not Wayne Gretzky, because it's Gretzky's jersey number. Or if it's got 87 of 100 on a Connor McDavid card, Connor McDavid wears 97, Crosby wears 87. I like seeing Crosby's jersey number on a McDavid card or vice versa. Am I going to pay a premium? Not really, but I might bid on the card where I otherwise might not have been interested in it at all. So talking about nuances and weird behaviors in the hobby, there's something that I get involved in sometimes.
That's interesting because it's gone through my head before when looking at cards that have a 23 out of anything serial number.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, Adam can probably attest to this too, but you just think Jordan immediately like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I've looked at a Brady card before that was 23 of 25 and even thought in my head like, oh, that's Jordan's jersey number.
Yeah, even crossing sports.
Yeah.
Jordan's the perfect example. 23 is definitely his number. And you've got the bonus LeBron as well if you want, right? So yeah, I'm with you on that. As crazy as it may sound, and I'm sure some people would laugh, but hey, whatever turns your crank, right? So,
hey guys, while I'm thinking about it, we haven't gotten too far away from it. Jesse talking about the flawless versus NT thing got me thinking. It does feel like in the last couple, the last 6 months or so, we've seen a lot of catching up on the flawless. And right now, the third most expensive card in the auction is the Steph National Treasures, but the fifth most expensive is the Luka Flawless. Now the Luka Flawless is to 5. It's to 5, so it's a different beast. But
sure.
I think that discrepancy, that difference there, is a lot closer today than it was 6 months ago.
I agree. I think that this recent ripping obsession that people have had with Flawless has just brought a lot of attention to the product. People also have seen how fun that product is to open and to be a part of. So I completely agree. And I mean, looking at these right now, the Judge is at 270 before the juice. That's over 300. Yeah, that Brady, I'm surprised it's as low as this. You know what? Right now, that LeBron dual 10, that's a great number for that card. With the current landscape of the LeBron market, that is a great number for that card. That Jordan rookie, I'm actually surprised that hasn't got another bid or two. I think that random sale that was canceled via MySlabs that got out everywhere that was under 200K has kind of affected the perception of the Jordan 10 market, because we hadn't seen one sell for under 240K in 2 years. And then all of a sudden somebody put one up on MySlabs and sells for 170 or something like that. It didn't make a lot of sense to me, but I think it might have scared off some Jordan buyers. And I don't think we've seen a PSA 10 Jordan that has a PWCC sticker of any kind ever sell for under, or I shouldn't say ever, in the last year and since they made it a run up, have sold for under 300K. So I'm kind of surprised it hasn't got a couple more bids.
So the SGC mantle is at 150 and the PSA is at 130, both 5s, just different grading companies. I just noticed that. You guys might have noticed when this card went across the board earlier, I kind of snickered. These cards are hilarious. Who's buying these cards, Jesse? Like, what's the allure to these cards?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Can I take a stab?
Yeah, sure. I don't know. They don't do it for me personally, but
they don't do it for me either at all. But the thing is, I mean, you just have to step back and look at it. There's a lot of people who are open and flawless. We just talked about this. It is a 1 of 1. It is, in this case, it's one of the most popular players in the league, right? I mean, I think this is the Jaw, right?
Yeah.
It's a pretty card. It is a pretty card,
but it's different.
There's no player attributes on the front. That's the only thing I don't like.
Me too.
You can't look at the front of the card and tell whose it is.
It's a problem.
That for me is the only reason that I'm not a huge fan of those. I think if there was any wording, photo, anything of Jaw on the front of that card, it would go for at least double.
It's the dumbest thing I've seen in a long time, guys. It's ridiculous. Like this is a brainchild that I would not be proud of.
Hey, little do you know that Jeremy's actually bidding on this thing. He's trying not to get anyone else to bid.
Stay away, guys. I want this bad boy for myself. No, I just think it's just a ridiculous card. But you know what? At the end of the day, someone out there is going to like it. It's got these diamonds in it. I don't know if there's any significance to the placement of them or the number of diamonds in here. But you said it the best there, Jesse. There's no reference to what player it is on the front. You do get it on the back, but since we all like the fronts of our cards much more than the backs, so I don't understand it. But hey, listen, they built the card and they're selling, so I don't know. I'll leave it with that.
Is it from his rookie year? I think it is, right?
It's a 19.
1920.
Yeah.
So it's a rookie. I mean, this is how you sell this, right? You say it's a rookie one of one of the hottest players in the NBA from one of the most expensive brands, and then you immediately highlight, look, his picture's not on the front of it. It seems semi-problematic. But
Trust me, it's a jaw card. Trust me.
but look at the back of it. It's still a one of one rookie card. You know,
How great would it be to have that card be sold on eBay by a seller that doesn't do back images?
Yeah. Right?
Just trust me. Just trust me.
Trust me. Trust me. It's a job. Yeah, guys, it's absolutely ridiculous. We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that for now. Yeah, too funny. Too funny. A couple more questions have come in. Unless well, there's lots of questions coming in, but I like this. Kevin Walsh says, "Why travel back in time to buy the Stephs when you can just buy all the Luka rookies out there now?" But Luka's not that cheap. It's not like he's affordable. So, but I get what you're saying still. John Pemberton says jersey numbers anywhere from 1.5 to 2x, but a rookie is totally different. Is a totally different beast. No doubt about that. Matt Clark says, I think Spinatron likes numbers. There's no doubt about that. You just have to follow Spinatron on Instagram to get a lesson in numerology. The one thing about Spinatron's numerology posts are that it's so small, you have to screenshot and zoom in to read what he writes. See, there's so many words packed into such a small place. Rich says 157 people watching, only 22 likes. Let's hit the like button. Hey, I'm not going to force anyone to do it, but yeah, hit that like button if you're so inclined. I love this Brady. Again, this is just a beautiful card here.
It is a pretty card.
Oh, what a gorgeous piece. What a gorgeous piece. I Collect Ichiro says, wasn't that $170,000 Michael Jordan rookie a fake slab? Was that the situation? Was it a fake slab?
I believe so. Yeah, I think it was a situation where there's a whole bunch of drama around this. There were two Jordans that looked similar. I didn't really read into it, but yeah, that's why the sale was canceled, was because it was a fake slab.
Okay.
As far as I understand.
Pemberton confirms. Okay. All right. John says all the diamonds are worth maybe $500. Should come with diamond grades too. Yeah, that wouldn't be the worst idea. And Spinatron says you can actually propose using this diamond card because every girl wants a card that might be John Morant on their finger. Spinatron, for sure. Okay, so let's go. Oh, look at the clock, guys. It's not over. Don't worry, Jeff. It's not over yet.
I don't think there's going to be a few that are going to keep rolling in here, yeah. I'm just surprised that some of these bigger cards haven't got other bids, to be frank.
Yeah, I'm shocked. Jeremy, can we sort by highest?
Yeah, I was just going to do that, actually. I think that's what I have right now. Yes, we do. Let me just do a quick refresh here. We'll take a look at this. I clicked on this. I want to see what this card was, and it was, it's Carmelo. See, that's a logo man right there. To me, that's... Now, listen, it happened in the NHL too. There's nothing that the card companies can do about this if that's the way the league and the jersey manufacturers are going. But it's just kind of too bad, right? That they're not thread like that anymore. All right, back to the sort by highest price. And let me know, guys, when you want me to scroll.
Yeah, I'm with Jesse. Maybe what's happening is you've got people who are waiting until the very end and they don't want to show.
We're getting right there. I wasn't expecting the Giannis to get much action, but I think that the Brady and the Curry not getting any action is surprising. Let's see what's down in the next column.
Well, this is at 520 something right now out the door.
Yeah,
so
which in my opinion is pretty fair for that card.
Anything here stick out to you, Jesse?
Well, just that Jordan 10 hasn't gone higher. I kind of expected that to hit 300 with the PWCC. So whoever's got that is, in my opinion, is getting a good deal. I think the out of 5 Luka, once again, it's game used. It's a rookie. I would expect an NT right now to bring $1 million plus in a 9.5. So
look at the Jordan here.
Shows you the discrepancy.
Take a quick peek at this Jordan. Centering is like bang on.
Mm-hmm.
Edges and corners are like, those corners are razor sharp. The edges are like, almost perfect. Little bit there. I don't see anything bad over there. I mean, this is a nice copy for sure. Back's got some slight left to right centering. Slight. Yeah, that's a nice card. That's definitely a nice card. I'm surprised that it's not. Well, it's at what's that? 264 right now out the door to the buyer. I'm surprised that doesn't have a couple more bids at this point either. Now we get to here we go. So the Kareem is stagnant at 200 right now. So that's 240. The buyer's going to pay 240,000 for that card. There's the SGC5 mantle still at 150. The auto's at 130 and the PSA 5's at 130. It's actually, the more I look at them, this is a superior card. The SGC 5 is just so much better, so much nicer to me than the PSA 5. Yeah. Adam, are you good with this page? Is there anything you want me to show or?
No, I saw Spino's comment here on the Brady made me feel like I wasn't crazy, which is good.
What did he say? Sorry, I missed it.
Says the Brady 1-of-1 rookie card is the best Brady rookie card, period. So we're talking about this card right here, which is currently at $296,000 out the door, meaning including the buyer's premium of 20%. So it's one of those cards that, listen, it's a little underwhelming from here, but when you hold it in hand, and I'm saying this without ever holding one in hand, I'm sure it's just a spectacular piece. And there's lots of cards that are like Playmakers Theaters are like that too. You can look at a picture of a Playmakers Theater on eBay, let's say, or wherever. The nice thing about PWCC is you get a 360 degree on the Premier Auction, so you can actually see that. But that's the Playmakers Theater is another card that is so much nicer in hand than it is on your screen. And I have a feeling, Jesse, is this card actually, we looked at it. It is sick. We looked at it on the 360 earlier at the beginning of the show, and it is absolutely stunning from when you actually move it around, you get the light bouncing off it at different angles. It is a beautiful card. So we're talking about right here.
I guess what this auction's teaching me, Jeremy, is I guess I just don't have insight into why people spend crazy money on stuff. If anything was just going to go absolutely totally bonkers in like the last 10, Premier auctions that we've covered, I would have thought it was this card. It's the 101 Brady rookie, and there's just not very many of those. And he's in the right jersey, and it's a beautiful card, and it was graded in 2004. Like, it's got everything going for it, but it's sitting at $400,000, which is a ton of money. But we've seen Brady sell for over $1 million over and over again. So I don't get it, because I would rather, like Spino said, I'd rather have this card than have one of those cards that's selling for $1 million, which shows that I clearly know nothing.
I wonder if anyone in the audience is actually bidding on this card right now. I wonder if
they probably want to keep it quiet if they are.
Yeah.
If they're high bidder, they won't want to say it.
For now, they're being quiet, right? For now, they're being quiet. All right. That was Spinatron's comment.
I got a text. I got a text from. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So I think Dave's comment here is about the Jordan rookie. Says perhaps shows that even the really rich are a bit concerned about the economy. Could be. I don't think that's.
Oh, look at. There we go.
There's a bid on the Jordan.
I got a message from Jason Mills. He said, "Talk about Mark Jackson." Haha. It's not every day that a Pacers fan gets a card in the Premier Auction, Jesse.
That's true. That is true.
The Plaid Picker says the market crashes here, people. I mean, yeah, if you're someone who collects commodity cards exclusively, but it's funny to say market crash. Plaid Picker must be new to the hobby in the last couple of years, because again, we're still way up over the past few years, but unfortunately, the reality of the matter is that so many people did come in recently. So that's the perception, right? But if you zoom out, which you're able to do if you've been in the hobby for, substantial amount of years, you're like, the market's amazing right now. And it's not crashing on the rare stuff that I would have bought way more cards this past week if the market was crashing. I couldn't. I was getting outbid.
Well,
So,
there's some cards tonight that we've seen do really well, and some that haven't. And I mean, this is also, this is a good example of an auction platform where if you don't have the right guy potentially in the room that night, it can affect the final sale price of a card. And that's just the nature of any auction on any platform, is that one guy can move the needle drastically on a card.
that's all it takes, right? All it takes.
It's two guys really wanting it.
And we're not done yet.
No, we're not. We're still going.
Nick Leach says the Dallas show was the busiest Thursday night I've ever seen. And up here, the Plaid Picker said that the Probstein show was a bust last weekend. Dallas this weekend will make or break the hobby for the coming months. See, I don't know how one card show on one weekend can make or break. Like Plaid Picker, I think you need to. I think you're very narrow. You're not. I think your lens is foggy right now, Plaid Picker. But that is one of the narratives going on in the hobby right now. But I think that's a narrative that is generated through a foggy lens. You got to see the macro picture, and that's one of the most micro type comments you can possibly make. And if that's what you're basing things on, then yeah, I mean, you're going to miss some opportunities, I think, is what it comes down to. But I guess time will definitely tell. Kellen says card market is outperforming the stock market and crypto hard to call. This is a full scale market crash. I think talking about the financial markets there. T Dot says every market ebbs and flows, but the tide has risen. Yeah, I mean the tide has definitely risen over the last few years. I think everybody knows that. Merle World says, have seen the market slip coming with the cost of food, gas, etc., reaching all-time highs. The money will not be there to sustain the hobby for coming months, years, who knows. The one thing though is that, this hobby has survived and thrived through many economic downturns. 2008 came and went. Hey, in the spring of 2020, people were thinking that this hobby was going to go to zero because the world was coming to an end, and the exact opposite happened. So I'm just not going to take anybody's advice out there. I'm going to go with my gut in this hobby, and I've been doing this for over 40 years, and my gut has never. Like, I've sold cards at the wrong time. I haven't bought cards when I probably could have, but overall, my gut has been very good to me as far as how the hobby goes. So I'm going to stick with my gut and ignore a lot of the foggy lens noise that I'm seeing out there right now.
I like that you bring up 2008 because we were the first people to ever create indices for the past history in our market using the data of all the sales that happened during the crash of 2008. And trading cards did go down. They went down 10 to 15% holistically, but we're talking about other markets taking a 50 to 75% haircut. So the trading card market typically is affected less than your traditional markets. And look, nobody knows what's going to happen in the future, right? Like, I don't have a crystal ball, neither you guys do, but it's possible that people are going to take their money out of the stock market and put it into something more tangible. We could actually have the opposite happen in trading cards. That's a possibility. I think right now, what I try to tell people and explain to people is this happened last year. Cards took a huge hit in May and June of last year because right now modern cards are driving a lot of the values in our industry, and modern cards are affected by athletes' performances. If those athletes are not on the court or the field playing at that specific time, then people aren't paying as much attention, and their stuff naturally each year goes down 15 to 20% in the off season. It's cyclical. It happens every single year. Vintage, that does not happen. I bet you when we look at pricing in this auction for vintage cards across the board, a lot of records will be set for the last couple of years for vintage cards that were sold in this auction. Watch. Because vintage cards aren't affected like modern cards are, because it doesn't require someone's play to determine the value of that asset. So everyone can look at things half full or half empty. None of us know what's really going to happen, but that's just the truth of the matter, is that the trading card industry has been around for a long time. We've sustained and thrived really in recessions compared to other markets. And if we have that in our market today, or our economy today, I expect that to be the case.
Well, Justin Vick, yeah, well said, Jesse, and I appreciate the comments. Justin Vick says it best right here. Sports cards is a lifestyle, and that's the theme song for this show. But it's actually true, like investing in equities and bonds and corporate stocks and all that. That's not a lifestyle. That's a boring ass job. Like, this is fun. This is an actual lifestyle, collecting sports cards, being in the hobby. And because of that, it's going to be able to withstand a lot of economic pressure. A couple of comments. Dave makes a great one here. High-end market isn't concerned about the price of gas. Listen, a lot of people aren't concerned about the price of gas. A lot are. Don't get me wrong. We cannot minimize the impact it has on everyday average America and Canada, for that matter, and the rest of the world even, I guess. But a lot of people, if you're spending 4, 5, 6 figures on cards, price of gas is the least of your concerns. Listen, that's just an indicator, right? It's groceries, it's a bunch of other things, it's mortgage rates, it's a lot of things. But the sports card market kind of lives in its own little world, and it pretty much has for a long time. T-Dot says many deep pockets have entered the hobby who are less susceptible to the powers of inflation. T-Dot also, vintage has locked in value. Many elites have come into the hobby and cards have certain authenticity, so the value is there. I mean, people will say there's no intrinsic value to sports cards. You can't eat them, you can't live in them, you can't wear them, you can't drive them. No, you can't do any of that. But a lot of people, myself included, would rather have a sports car than a car to drive. I'm due for a new car. I've been due for a new car for a few years now. My car's a 2013. But do I want? No. Anytime I think about buying a new car, I'm like, damn, what cards could I buy? It's like, no, I don't care about my car. I care about my cards. So anyway, lots of discussion here. It's an interesting time we're in. Jesse said it well, though. We're always going to ebb and flow. It's a cyclical market, and there's cycles within the cycles, because we have different sports going, and we have different and then you've got the mix-ups in terms of the shifting of the calendar for playoffs based on the pandemic and etc. I'm not concerned about the hobby.
People need, the big takeaway too is, if you need to sell something because you need cash, that's one thing, but don't sell to panic that like the market's going to, this isn't Luna coin, this isn't going to go to zero, for crying out loud. Like, be patient, watch. Come July, stuff's going to go back up. People are going to be hyped about the National. People are going to be hyped about preseason NFL. The NBA season is only 3 months away. The Lakers will have a head coach, but LeBron stuff's going to go back up. Like, it's going to happen. This happened like the last 3 years. So everybody be patient. I wouldn't sell right now unless you absolutely have to. That's my takeaway. And look, this is coming from an auction house that makes their money on people selling stuff. And we always tell people what we believe and our honest opinion. And the truth is, like, just don't sell right now if you don't have to.
Jeremy said it best when he quoted Warren Buffett, and he said, be greedy when others are fearful, and fearful when others are greedy. And I'm just going to tell you guys, like my personal collection is like a testament that that's true. I don't buy in up markets. Yeah. If you look at the best cards that I bought in my collection, a lot of them I bought during spring of 2020 when everybody was freaking out. I was like all in on stuff that people were putting out there so they could save their dollars. And I was like, this is great. So my best cards from that came from that 3-4 months. And so, don't be, just like Jesse's just saying, don't be that person who gets out because they're so afraid. What are you going to do with that money? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me why somebody would do that.
Buy more cards. That's what I would.
I do want to comment on Joe's comment about our 20% buyer's premium. Joe, to be frank with you, man, it's only dreaded in your head. It's all calculation when you bid on a card. It's there. So if you want to spend 10 grand on a card, bid accordingly. That's really it. Have a budget in mind and bid on the card accordingly. As an auction house, it's much easier to do a buyer's premium than it is to do a commission structure. So it's only dreaded because you're feeling like it's dreaded. But if you're going to spend 10 grand, spend 10 grand, whether it's on a platform that doesn't have a buyer's premium or does. It's really simple.
Yeah, just divide what you want to spend by 1.2, and that's your bid. That's your max bid. It's simple math, and I think that's a great answer, and it's a logical answer too, Jesse. It makes perfect sense.
The other thing that I'd point out there is I think that he calls out the weekly auctions, and you guys, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe you guys tried the weeklies for a little while without the buyer's premium, but in the end, it's kind of hard to go back and forth and be like, is this buyer's premium? Is that not? It's better to just have everything be all the same, sort of like the same payment. So everybody knows, okay, buying this, it's going to have the 20% on top. Is that true, Jesse, or am I speaking out of turn there?
No, we created the 20% BP for the high-end Premier auction because that was traditional in the higher-end auctions. And then we wanted consistency across all of our auction platforms.
Yep.
So weekly has it, fixed has it. So we have one fee structure now for every platform when you sell with us. And so it's consistency. You know what you're looking at, and it's that simple.
And the other part of it is you're going to find better cards on the platform. And this is psychological too, but it applies, as John Pemberton says, the fact that I get 110% of the total price is absolutely awesome. So PWCC actually shares that 20% with the consignor based on a sliding scale. So it helps the seller, and the seller is now incentivized to use PWCC to sell the cards because they might get a bit, they will most likely get more than the hammer price. I think it kicks in at like $50 on the weekly, where you get a percentage, you get like 102% of the hammer.
Yeah. And we're very transparent about it. There's no other auction house I'm aware of that has their buyer's premium and their rate structure posted on their website that uses a BP model. And it's because they can find someone that doesn't know much about the model, promise them no seller fees on a 100K item, and the auction house is making 20%, right? Because they're making the whole buyer's premium. So we just want to be upfront and transparent about it.
Simon here's another good comment. It says it literally does the calculation for you on the PWCC site when you enter the bid. I don't see how that can be dreaded. So, I mean, listen, I think listen.
Mindset. I mean, look, he's not alone. We've had a lot of people that have made that comment, but it's just an educational response from us, just saying, like, you're just thinking about it wrong. You're only thinking about it as a negative because you're bidding 1,000 and you're going to pay 1,200. Well, just when you bid that 1,000, know you're going to pay 1,200. Like, if you think the card's worth 1,000, then don't bid 1,000, bid 840 or whatever that math works out to be.
Yeah.
And then you'll pay 1,000.
And I just want to say, to Joe's point in all this is that, it sometimes is hard to get past that psychological barrier, because even though you can do the math, you're still bidding, you're making that bid, and you're like, well, I bid that. Oh yeah, I got to pay that. It's like, you just need to, you got to get your game face on when it comes to these auctions. You got to really listen, when you're bidding on PWCC auctions on this platform now, you need to be prepared for that night of extended bidding. You need to have all your windows open, know what you want to bid on, have some notes, know your comps if you care, and just be ready so that you're not going to make a mistake and go over budget, and make that you don't go under budget. You want to make sure you win those cards that you want. So I understand Joe's comment, but there is a real easy way to get around it in your head, and that is just everything that you said.
Well, and talk about transparency, like Simon mentioned in the comments, our website does the math for you, so you actually don't have to do the math. So it should be fairly simple. When you click a button, it'll say, hey, this is what you're going to pay with the BP, so you'll know when you're placing that bid.
Yeah, and that's a classy touch right there. Now, listen, it's almost, I shouldn't say classy. It's like you should do that. So I don't want to over compliment, but that you did it is wonderful. It's a great move in the direction of transparency, which is something that the hobby calls for in all areas, not just what's your buyer's premium. People want transparency all over the place. I think we deserve transparency in our hobby.
Hey guys, we're getting there. I don't know if you've noticed, but we've gotten pretty low on this clock a few times. We're pretty low right now.
I agree.
There it goes. So this is usually the stage where we start to see, if there are people who are like waiting to like really trying to wait till the end. This is usually when they come in. There's like that brief burst right before the very end. I think we might be there.
We're getting there. This is the latest I think the auction has gone, so we're getting there. I think we'll be done in about 20 minutes, but let's wait and see what happens. I'm going to go a couple more comments because there's some good ones here. T-Dot wants to know to Jesse, do any of your auctions have reserves?
They do not. We actually always let the market determine what an asset's worth. So we don't allow any reserves.
Tom Newman says, do all Premier auction items get the 110% of the hammer price?
No. Couple little nuances to that. So we have a minimum fee, and this is to protect the integrity of our auction. So if someone's willing to put in an item that we think is borderline, call it 24K all in or 20K hammer plus the VP of 24, there's a $2,000 minimum. So which is our normal fee of 110% on a card of that level. So if the card finishes at 15K and the buyer pays 18, well, your fee is going to be 2K still, but you made the decision as the owner of that asset to let it run, and it sold for that amount. So there's a lower fee, because what happened is we'd have people arguing with us that, a specific card should qualify for Premier, and they would write us this long, thesis on exactly why this card should be in the auction. And, I have a team of 10 sales guys. So if we let a few in each auction for each sales guy, well, now you got 30 cards that might not really be Premier quality that we let in because we're trying to do somebody a favor, and it kind of waters down the auction a little bit. So we try to keep it. So we put that minimum fee in there to let economics take over. But on the higher end as well, any card that closes over 250,000, between 250 and $1 million, those cards get 112.5%. So you get another 2.5%. And then any card over $1 million, you actually get 115%. So it's 110 for I would say the majority of the quantity in Premier, but there are cards that will do more.
Some big bids coming through here right now as we're dwindling down. We got down to a couple seconds there a few minutes ago. I'm going to couple calls. So Joe responded. He says, thanks for the response. It's dreaded according to a large percentage of the buyer's market. It'll change with some education, I think. I buy and sell exclusively on PWCC for a reason and will continue to do so.
That's very nice of you, Joe. I don't disagree with you. I think that there is a large percentage of people that buy on eBay that don't like buyer's premium, but I think it's just an educational conversation that needs to be had with them, that the numbers are the numbers and you're going to pay what you're going to pay. And that's it. You shouldn't pay 20% more because there's a buyer's premium. It needs to be calculated into what you're willing to pay. And that's it.
Agree. Spinatron says, PWCC provides curation and many eyes to a prestigious platform, which brings a lot of attention. That is work and deserves a premium paid. All the promotion on social media and behind the scenes. So you have a fan in Spinatron.
Thanks,
for sure.
Appreciate it.
For sure. I mean, look at the clock, guys. Look at the clock.
8 seconds. Let's see if anything late comes in here.
Oh, there's bids coming. There we
go. Herbie, there's my Oregon Duck.
Yeah, see, people are waiting to the last second to get these. But it's a lot of the same cards coming by here right now. So
that's why, we did get a couple of random ones pop, like that Ovechkin, that Zion. Those hadn't been battling back and forth. That Jordan, those guys have been going back and forth for a while on that one.
Yeah, the jaw. Yeah.
That Vlad's. Oh, that's the red non-autograph. Yeah.
The red refractor. 30 seconds on the clock. Let's see if there's been any changes here. I'll do a refresh. We'll see if there's any changes to the first page. Kellen Whetstone says the Herberts are super low right now.
It's not surprising. It's not surprising. You're talking about a modern football player in the off season who, to be frank, and look, I'm an Oregon Duck. I'm a 4th generation Duck. I love Herbert, but he hasn't done anything. It's just the truth. Like, he's exciting. He's fun to watch. I think his team made some great defensive moves this offseason. So, hopefully they can get in the playoffs and make a run. But once again, he hasn't done anything. So I think that's what you're seeing reflected in the price of his cards. It's just going to be what it is for modern stuff. If you buy it the wrong time, you're going to get burnt.
Jesse, do you ever look at the results of these auctions once the premiere is over and say, like, how many cards sold for over $500,000, how many sold for over 100,000, 50 to 100. Do you guys do any analysis like that at all?
I don't look at them in buckets like that. We look at, Premier's a little different. For weekly, we always look at what the cards sold for based on our vault values that we have. And those are traditionally in about 105 to 120% of the vault values for weekly. Even the last week was 108%. Premier I actually haven't done that with, which is interesting. But there's usually cards that stand out. Look, in any auction, it's just true that there's going to be cards that do great, and there's going to be cards that don't. It's just it happens. A Premier auction, a weekly auction, on our platform, on anyone else's platform, it's just true. That's going to happen. And that Brady is that's a case study right there. I don't know why that hasn't gone higher. Doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
So whoever's the high bid on that, I think, is getting a steal.
I just noticed this card here, MJ rookie SGC 10, not even at $100,000.
Oh, time.
Uh-oh.
Is that it?
No,
not it. Not it.
The clock's delayed by it's like a 4 second catch up. What got bid on late?
Let's take a quick look at this Jordan rookie here. SGC 10, a third of the price of the PSA 10.
Yep.
And I mean, it looks pretty good to me, little bit of, I don't know if that's just the angle the camera's at or if that's in the edge. Same thing going on there.
Well, what's interesting is, so with the BP at 20%, that's at 102. So actually one sold last auction for 95. So this was actually done
This
more.
is actually higher.
Yeah. I don't know who Bees and Cards is, but no, don't go Beeves.
It's really I'm making my comments more simply because of the difference in the value the hobby attributes to a PSA 10 versus an SGC 10. This card looks pretty darn good to me overall. Better than a third of the price of the other PSA 10, but that's
I really like, SGC is very, very good at vintage grading. I would take the value play of buying an SGC 10 over a PSA 10 all day, personally. They have a fantastic team, great graders, and I'm not saying PSA doesn't. I'm just saying that, from a value perspective, I would buy that SGC 10 at $100K.
Yeah. No, you're left with $200,000 in your pocket or so. I mean,
buy three of them, right? Go buy 2.5, cut 1.5.
Yeah, if there's so many things you can do that. I want to say welcome Lamim James to the stream.
There he is.
Good to see you, and thank you for the disingenuous compliment. We appreciate it. I Collect Ichiro says, besides the state of the economy, the worst thing you could do right now is panic selling.
100%.
100%.
That is one of the best comments of the entire night, outside of the memes.
Dave Boloton says rare and valuable are not the same thing, and that's 100% true. There's that cannot argue that comment whatsoever. I don't think anything more needs to be said about that. Jim wants to know any F1 cards in this Premier auction. I believe there is.
There is
a. His name is escaping me right now for some reason. I can't believe it.
Verstappen? Is it Max?
I don't think so.
Lewis Hamilton. Doesn't he have? Isn't there a? Let's have a look. Who else is named Lewis in professional sports right now?
It's fun to see this Jordan number pieces just ticking up there one bit at a time.
I know.
So there's two Lewis Hamiltons. There might be a Max Verstappen in the auction as well. I don't remember right now. Oh, John Pemberton's happy to see Lamim in the house. Thank you, John. We'll have the Lewis Hamilton. I just had a brain fart there for a moment.
Jeremy, do a search for F1.
Does
Let's put in F1.
Yeah, sure. That's an easy search. 2 taps of the keyboard, and here we go.
Oh, there's some. Okay, here we go.
Ayrton Senna, Charles Leclerc, and another. Oh, and
George Russell.
George
Okay.
Russell.
Who the hell is George Russell?
Well,
I don't know F1 very well.
Yeah, I believe he races for Mercedes now, and he just moved there this year after driving for Haas, I think, the last couple of seasons, and he was never a top 10 guy driver-wise. But with Mercedes, he's doing a lot better, and it just goes to show how important the cars are in F1, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that, but Lewis Hamilton isn't having the season that he'd like to have because they moved into these new vehicle, a new formatted vehicle this year. So I guess they're just not as strong of a vehicle as they had before.
Didn't know you were so knowledgeable in F1, Jerry.
I'm not, and I'm getting my teams wrong because isn't Lewis Mercedes?
He is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
so
actually did know that. I didn't know that.
So is
At least
George
you knew
Russell
that there were
Mercedes
teams.
now?
Oh, here we go. Jordan says that Russell raced for
Williams.
Now
Not
Mercedes.
right. Williams with the female owner. That's right.
Got it.
I'm just thinking back to watching the documentary, which was excellent.
I still haven't seen any of it.
It's so good. Like, listen, it made me an F1 fan where I will watch the races. I don't collect the cards, but I definitely enjoy watching the races on Sundays when I have time. This is a card that was talked about earlier on, the 93 Griffey Refractor with the NBA gold sticker on it. It should come up momentarily. This is look at the difference in the image right here versus you go to 360 and you can actually see, look at that. Look how pretty that is. Beautiful card, 22K, 24.4 out the door at the moment, or 26.4, sorry. Let's see. People are correcting me on I love it because I was talking like I knew my F1 really well, right? But I was kind of like making it up a bit as I go along. So I just want to see what comments are coming. Jordan says, give it a shot, Jesse. You may get hooked. Kindred King Carl says, I have a Matthews Premier RPA from his rookie year. Only one on eBay is 10K. Do you think I should hold on to it? If you're talking about Austin Matthews, yeah, hold on to it. Kevin Walsh says Russell will be a big deal. He raced for Mercedes once when Bottas was injured before moving up to F1 full-time with Williams last year. He'll be a solid investment. I mean, people like him. People like George Russell, but it's the car. You need the car to be effective. Like, it's almost as much about, you look at any sport, right? Like basketball, there's no equipment. You got your sneakers, right? Baseball, you've got your bat and your shoes. Football, you got your pads. Hockey, you got your stick. In F1, you've got your vehicle, which you are engulfed into. Like, it's so much about the vehicle compared to any other sport. I'm not taking anything away from these guys. I'm just saying.
Hey, Jeremy, how do you like that Jordan auto that just got bid on?
I mean, I prefer if it was on the card versus the jersey, but as far as an auto on a piece of memorabilia goes, especially when it's a piece of fabric, that looks pretty solid. Like, that's a solid looking, on jersey auto right there. And kudos to MJ for signing it so well.
Yeah, his autograph never fails to disappoint him. He's just awesome. But if you that's a good 3D or a good 360 one too. That's got some etched hollow foil around the patch window that just is awesome. Beauty.
Max here says, unless you're in the hospital, how are you so injured you can't drive? It's like, yeah, I mean.
Oh, wait, we're over.
Is it done?
It's
over. The auction has ended, and immediately you see the prices with the built-in buyer's premium. So let's now clear all. Let's go to the front page, Jesse, Adam, and let's look at the first page. We'll run through the first page results pretty quick here. We are sorted by highest price. And I'm just going to run through these guys pretty quick just to see what's going on. So these are the top 24 auctions, the top 24 lots on the May PWCC Premier Auction by highest price. In the number one spot, guys, is that Giannis Gold Prism rookie out of 10, $528,000. In the number 2 spot is the Fleer Showcase Tom Brady rookie, 1 of 1, $396,000. Third, Steph Curry NTRPA, $336,000, followed by a 2013 Bowman Chrome Superfractor Aaron Judge auto, 1 of 1, $324,000. Moving on to spot number 5 is the Luca Panini Flawless Green Vertical Patch out of 5, $312,000. And the Michael Jordan PSA 10 with the PWCC E for excellent, I believe. Is that right, Jesse? E for excellent?
Exceptional.
Exceptional. Sorry, E for, hey, both same root word. $276,000. 2003 LeBron James Ultimate Autograph rookie out of 250 does 276 as well. And in the 8th spot is the Charizard First Edition Shadow List does $264,000, followed by the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar sticker does $240,000. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Topps Chrome Red Refractor in the 10 spot with $228,000 out the door, followed by the Michael Jordan Limited Logos Exquisite 2003 First Year Exquisite does $222,000. Only beats out the Steph Curry BGS 10 Refractor Rookie by $12,000 does $210K. That's a pop 3 in a BGS 10.
I like that.
Next up, the Giannis NTRPA out of 99 does $192,000. That's a BGS 9. The nicest mantle in the auction comes in at $180,000. That's an SGC 5, followed by the Ronaldo rookie, the 2003 Mega Cracks does $168,000, and then LeBron James 2003 Bowman Chrome Gold Refractor out of 50 does $168,000. Next up, we have a Kobe Bryant Topps Chrome Refractor PSA 10, $168K, followed by the Josh Allen. That's a nice looking card as far as NT goes, in my opinion. PSA 10 with the Auto 10 does $162,000. This is a card that's gaining popularity lately. I've noticed the 2002 Topps Tom Brady autograph piece of authentic football out of 150 does $156,000. And then both of these guys' favorite cards in this auction, the autograph 52 Topps Mickey Mantle PSA 1 with the Auto 8 does $156,000. We're winding down here, guys. Giannis NTRP out of 25 does $156,000. The PSA 5 Mickey Mantle does $156,000. Again, comparing that to the SGC 5 that did $180,000. SGC 5 outselling PSA 5. Second last card we're going to look at, the Michael Jordan NT Exquisite Limited Logos does $156,000. Pop 1 of 13 in a BGS 9, none higher. And the other favorite card of Jesse and Adam in this auction is the Ty Cobb 1909 T206 Green Portrait with an autograph right on it, does $144,000. Those are your top 24 finishers. Jesse, final thoughts on the top 24 and the auction overall?
Yeah, I think you see that, look at the Mantle. The vintage stuff is still doing well. That's a big piece, and rare stuff is doing well. I think the Brady 101 is interesting. I wonder if the fact that there was a second one just kind of like took a lot of the luster out of it. And if it was really a true 101, it would have gone for a lot more. The Curry RPA, I think, was affected by him not playing that well in the playoffs. Even though they're winning, he hasn't been carrying his team. And the auto, obviously, in that card affects it. That's a great number for the Giannis, in my opinion. I think it's a good number for the Judge as well, considering that he's playing well this year, but hasn't really done a whole lot. If you scroll back down, I'd like to see Flawless do better for the Luca, but is what it is. Jordan, once again, I think that was affected by the MySlab stuff. 276 on that LeBron Ultimate is an amazing number on that card. That's a huge number. That might even be a record for a dual 10 Ultimate LeBron. Pokemon 264 is not crazy on that card. I do wish that Kareem got a couple more bids for Brian's sake, but still for a non-rookie sticker from the 86 Fleer set, it set a monster record for that card. The Vlad 228, based on what our BGS 10 last auction sold for, that's about right. That's about what I expected. 200 was like the over-under, in my opinion. Exquisite limited logos Jordan. Yeah, look, we've had some really nice 3-color patches do not a ton more than that. So the fact that a 2-color did that, I think, is a good number for that card. Curry Refractor, I think that's probably a good buy at 210, considering it's pop 3 and PSA 10s had been doing around 200. Giannis, that might be a really good buy for Giannis. I think his stuff, obviously, the gold didn't get a bid and extended. Those bids came in before they lost to the Celtics in Game 7. So I knew we wouldn't see much movement on Giannis stuff, but getting a 3-color Giannis RPA is very hard. It's really hard to find.
Yes.
SGC 5 52 tops Mantle going for 180 is a big number for that card. That's a really good price. And let's see, Mega Cracks Mess. That's low in my opinion. I think that's a little surprising. I think a few have hit the market lately. That's probably why it's affecting it.
Do you know the pop on that card?
20 or 30. It's somewhere around there.
That's low.
It is low. It is low. I think that gold refractor's decent.
Okay. How about this guy?
Yeah, those shot way up just like the Jordan 10s and have come back down. Greening is affecting the sale price on those pretty heavily. That one did have some greening on his arm. I can't tell if it has any on the legs, but
doesn't look like it.
Yeah, it's I think, Adam, have you seen those were those going for like high ones? Like it's not too far off.
I haven't really tracked him, to be
honest.
honest.
I don't think that one's too far off, to be frank.
Okay. Josh Allen. That's decent on the Josh Allen, right?
I mean, look, once again, we're talking about a guy that hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
Just to be frank, right? Like
No, it's true.
He probably should have won that game against Mahomes, but didn't. And he hasn't done anything. Herbert hasn't done anything. Joe Burrow hasn't done anything, but they look really good. And the AFC is going to be a lot of fun. So I think that's a pretty good number for an RPA of a guy that hasn't done a whole lot. Those relic cards have been blowing up lately. Those have been doing really well. The Mantle Auto, I'm a little disappointed in what that went for, but I don't know what the last one sold for. I just feel like they should be worth more, but that's a personal thing. Giannis, okay. PSA 5, still a good number for that. That Jordan Exquisite, I think a pretty decent number for that, being an 06. And then the Cobb I mentioned, kind of the same thing as the Mantle. Like I would have thought that would have done a little bit better, but these are my honest opinions on the cards. And all in all, considering that everybody feels like the world is falling apart, I don't think it was too bad.
Adam, any? We're not going to run through them all with you again, but that'll be 3 times. But any comments from you on anything that sticks out?
Not necessarily on the first page, I guess, other than two quick things. I think if we look back at all the premier auctions we've done, Jeremy, I think this one is really strong in the $100,000 $200,000 sales. There's a lot of them in here. There's a whole bunch of $150,000 sales, and I think that's, we didn't have the big $1 million sale this time, but I think it's kind of cool to see so many cards selling in that mid 100 range. And then the other thing that stands out from that front page is, and also into the second page, is the Jordans. You're going over one right now. The Jordans sold really well in this auction. Yeah. Joe made a couple comments, and I thought he was spot on. I thought the same thing around the limited logos. I think this is a public record for the Jambalaya.
Which is that's a great number for that card.
That's a really significant sale. And so
that jersey number Kobe did great too.
What's that?
The jersey number Kobe right there, the Flair Showcase.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
it did. As did the my favorite card of the auction, the ultimate autograph patch to 8, which I came in with high hopes for today, but 111 was more than I was going to do. So
114 on the Connor Exquisite. That's got to be a record for sure. I think that's a record
too.
Yeah,
that Brady flawless has to be a record.
Yeah, that's wow.
I guarantee that's a record.
This might be one of the sort of steals of the night right here.
Yeah,
just from an overall value perspective,
I love, to be honest with you, one of my favorite cards in the whole auction is the card right next to it. It's that LeBron Dual 10, the limited logos. I love the design of that card. I love the patch on that card. The fact that it's a Dual 10. I mean, there's a handful of cards. If I was able to bid in our auctions, I would have gone after, and that would have been one of them.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that, Jesse? Not being able to bid in your auctions? Is that?
It just is what it is. It's unfortunate we can't bid in weekly. We can't bid in anything. So it's as somebody who loves cards, it's difficult, but it comes with the territory, So I mean,
do the other auction houses do that, or is that something that you guys mostly you guys just do?
I don't know. I can't speak for what other auction houses do. I just know that our policy is that no employee can bid on any cards in any auction format that we have. We actually don't even have the ability to. If I go, even on my admin side, if I go into the auction, it says register to bid. I click to register, and an error pops up. I can't even try. Is
that true for the, I forget what we call it, the static marketplace?
The fixed price?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't buy anything.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't buy anything.
Good to know.
We have access to too much information that we could, have an advantage.
Understood.
Oh, I want to bring up David Chow's comment here. It says, I got the cards I want. Thank you for your comments earlier, Jesse. I understand, I think, regarding the extended bidding.
Oh,
system.
Yeah.
But David, are you willing to tell us what you bought? No pressure, but
tell us.
Curious if you are. But again, no pressure at all.
Thomas Newman says, just have a friend do it. Not how we operate, dude.
Dave says most other auction houses allow house bids. The BGS McDavid.
Oh, hockey guy. Look at that. Huh?
David knows. He knows what's good. He knows what's good.
Congrats to David.
Congrats on that, Dave. Congrats on that. Yeah, Justin Vick's asking for a show and tell.
Yeah, I guess if anybody wants to share and hear anything they won, that'd be interesting.
So cool.
Yeah, anybody else out there, if you're watching, you bid and you won on anything, you won any of these cards tonight, let us know. We'll go for a couple more minutes here. Then we're going to wrap up because we are coming up on 3.5 hours that Adam and I have been going, and Jesse's coming up on 2 himself. So we're gonna wrap this up pretty soon here, everybody. And before we do, I'll just thank everyone for joining. Always one of the. I mean, I know Adam, it's your favorite night of the month. I get to go live and live stream several 4 or 5 nights a month. So it's always fun to have Adam join, and whether it's Jesse or Eric from PWC that comes on and join, it is definitely a blast. Definitely enjoy this night. Don't forget the Sport Card Expo is coming up June 2nd to 5th. I will be there. PWCC will be there. Are you yourself going to be there, Jesse?
I am. I'm flying to Florida to shoot our next Unvaulted on Wednesday and taking a early morning flight that Thursday to Toronto. So we'll be there for I think the VIP thing kicks off on Thursday afternoon, right?
Yeah, it's Thursday from 4 till 8.
Yeah.
And I'll extend. So Thursday night after the show ends at 8 o'clock, Jesse, I invite you and your crew to come join us at the Jack Astor's restaurant. We've got the indoor patio actually booked.
Okay.
So I'll be kind of hosting a bit of a get together there if you're able to come by for a drink or have a meal, whatever you want.
Sure. We're in.
Sounds good. Okay. Anything else I can quickly announce to you all? Check out. Well, let me call out the people that support this channel. Of course, I want to direct you all to the Apple Store. Download the Center Stage app. It's a wonderful app that continuously gets better. Of course, don't forget about Trade Safe Hub to do some safe trading online on the Twitters, the Instagrams, the Facebooks of the world. We are here to help you get your cards without having to worry about vouchers and who sends first and all of those sorts of things. Quick thank you to Justin Vick, says great show. Always enjoy the commentary on the action as we enjoy. Here we go. Kevin Walsh won the PSA 10 SP Authentic Tiger Woods in the last Premier. It was the one numbered 400 of 900. Seems like someone got a great deal on the PSA 1010 auto in this auction.
Ooh, adult dating site. That's nice.
Yeah, we're getting the spam now. Thank you. Welcome to the spammers. Let me just do a very quick get rid of that, and it's gone. Thank you to them for. But hey, when you get the spammers that you're worth their time.
So you made it, Jeremy. There you go.
A couple spammers, a couple haters, and Hooray! Go me! Good stuff. Couldn't do it without you guys on these nights. I appreciate it. Very, very fun evening here we had. I mean, this was great, Jesse. Thanks for coming out, Adam.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks. You're welcome. Thanks to you as always, guys. Collectible Live that I do on Sundays now streams on the Sports Cards Live YouTube channel starting this Sunday. So come check that out. And yeah, I'm sure there's more things I could announce and talk about, but nothing is popping in my mind at this time. bcfmag.com. Go to bcfmag.com. Adam is the editor-in-chief. He's holding it right now. That is the cover. It is a wonderful magazine, high gloss all the way through. Yeah, really nice magazine. You do a great job on that, Adam. So check that out, everybody. Anything else? Any shout outs? Anything you guys want to do, or we're done? We're ending this. This is over.
That's it. It's 10 o'clock for me. Let's wrap it up.
All right, guys.
Next one's on. Oh, sorry, Jeremy, real quick. Is the next one on Thursday? Is that right, Jesse? Another Thursday night?
Well, the 18th is a Saturday, so either it's going to be the 18th on a Saturday or the following Thursday. We're still a little TBD on that, but we'll announce it here soon.
Okay.
All right. Good stuff. Got you two hang tight right there if you don't mind. Everybody else, thanks again for joining. We'll see you on Saturday on Sports Cards Live. We'll see you lots. Take care. Have a good night. The weekend is upon us. Happy. Joy.